Greetings, greetings. Greetings. Sorry for the lack of live streams last week. I only had one or two live streams last week. Sorry about that, but it's been hectic. It's been hectic. Um Same thing this week. Gonna be hectic this week for me too, but I'm gonna definitely do my best to post these live streams up here. But thank you guys for tuning in. Pyro's already in there saying, "Oh yes, I knew you were going to talk about this topic one day." Well, eventually, I had to do this. What a lot of people don't know is I was one of the first people that, and that might be kind of tooting my own horn a little bit, but I was one of the first people specifically in the year 2022 where I sounded the alarm on female teachers, right? So I was one of the first. I think I was one of the first, in my opinion. Right, like literally right before it blew up, one of the first videos I've ever done in terms of making male related content, male related content. I was sounding the alarm about my experience with teachers growing up and seeing how they got away with a lot of stuff, not just necessarily them messing with young boys, but a lot of other things too. Teachers being thieves, liars, immoral people. Um, I'm one of the few people that I said this in the beginning. I said teachers are overpaid. To be a teacher, I believe that's not a full time job, right? The women today, they go into that profession and they're just like, I'm gonna just still go into this profession, even though it's gonna pay me this. And they're just expecting them to just eventually just give them money. No, like to be a teacher, that's a part-time job. That was something back then that the women did to supplement the income, when it comes to, the total income for the house. And then even the way the teachers' schedules are set up, the way it's set up, you're working part-time basically as a part-time babysitter. And then on top of that, you have the whole summer off. That's not a full-time job. That is a part-time job. So I'm one of the few people out there. I believe teachers are overpaid. And then on top of that, I believe this. I believe male teachers should be paid more than female teachers, right? There needs to be, if you want more male teachers, you need to pay them more. Um, I believe in actual, what they call this, was it a gender pay gap? Whatever they've been trying to push. I actually believe this should act like we should have an actual gender pay gap when it comes to male teachers and female teachers, right? And I just think that male teachers do a better job than female teachers in general. That's just my opinion. From what I've seen, from what I've experienced, I just think men do a better job at teaching the kids than the women. Um, that's just my opinion. I'm gonna stick to it. All right. But this is what the show is going to be about. By the way, I wanted to give a congratulations to Team USA Baseball. I saw them play the Dominican Republic last night. I was very impressed with the defense. Very impressed with the defense. Um, USA only gave up one run, and that was to Junior Caminero, who, first of all, he's already a monster at such a young age. The only reason why I knew, like, Junior Caminero scoring a home run didn't surprise me. Or sorry, hitting a home run didn't surprise me because I've been seeing him at Tampa Bay the whole year. The reason why I've been watching Tampa Bay is because my favorite player is on that team. I'll let you guys figure out who that is. And I'll let you figure out who that is. But I think I've shown him on this channel before. But that's the only reason why I knew about Junior Caminero. He's a monster at like 22, 21. He says, "Do you think Venezuela has a chance. I think Venezuela versus Italy, because it's the Venezuela Italy game. I think it's going on tonight. I don't know what. I think it should be going on right now. But yeah, yeah. I think even I think Italy's gonna win. I think Italy's gonna win. Even though I think Venezuela is a better baseball team. I think they have better players, but I don't know. Italy has a lot of, American players on their team. So, it is what it is. I'm not tripping over that. But the DR was stacked. The DR was stacked. I'm so happy for the past 2 years I've been coming back to baseball because man, I was finally able to have like a conversation with somebody that I knew personally, and I was able to like actually tell them about like Bobby Witt. Was it Bobby Witt Jr., the shortstop? I was able to talk to them about not Aaron Judge. I was talking to him about Junior Caminero. I was able to talk to him about how stacked the DR team was. Was it Manny Machado, uh, Tatis, Guerrero, and it was very interesting. Um, something happened last night. So it was the last inning of the game, right? And it was the last inning, and then they brought up the pitch hitter, the hitter from the Pirates. I'm blanking on his name right now. I think his name is O'Neill Cruz. That's one of my other favorite players to watch in baseball. He plays for the Pirates, right? He came up, and I remember somebody had messaged me. They were like, "Who is this guy?" I'm like, "Oh no, you got like they were." He was kind of confused that because they had like basically like when a powerful hitter or when a dangerous hitter comes up to the bat, and when a dangerous hitter comes up to the bat, just for the people that don't know baseball, if a dangerous hitter comes up to the bat, they usually have like a little press conference with the coach and the pitcher, the pitcher, the catcher, and somebody had literally asked me like, why are they having a whole press conference? I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like O'Neill, I know he strikes out a lot, but he's a very powerful hitter. He's a powerful hitter. Like his home runs, they like average like the it's not even close. It's like they've measured his home runs where it's like he hits off the bat 106 miles per hour average. You know what I mean? Like just easily hits it off the bat. And I was like, oh man, they bringing him up now. That's a very interesting, pinch hitting decision, right? But yeah, I'll say this. I'll since you're here, Joseph, I'll just say it like this. I don't want people to play the guessing game. My three favorite players to watch in baseball to watch. I'm just saying my three favorite players to watch is Chandler Simpson from the Tampa Bay Rays, Ellie De La Cruz from the Cincinnati Reds, and O'Neill Cruz. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. Let me. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. O'Neill Cruz, right? Yeah, O'Neill Cruz. Yeah, I got it right. All right, good, 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 good. I just typed it up. O'Neill Cruz from the Pirates, man. Those are my three favorite players to watch in baseball for the past. Well, for Chandler Simpson, he's finally getting his chance this year. But that's the only reason why I knew about Junior Caminero, and that's why I wasn't surprised that he hit a home run. Because even though he's a power hitter, he's already well respected. He's already a monster, but he's only 21. So he's 22. So there's not enough data on him still yet. Not just yet. Even though he's a monster already, but there's not enough data on him. So yeah, for the past 2 years, I've been really trying to reignite my love for baseball, and it's been working. It's been working, man. It's crazy. I'm finding myself do all the things that I was not gonna do at this age. Like when I was a kid, when I was from 2006 through 2009, all I watched was Mets baseball. That's all I watched. Like I was a huge Mets fan. I would, the Mets used to have a really nice team back in the day. Like my favorite players were Jose Reyes, right, the shortstop. Ryan Church was one of my favorite players, but he was injured a lot. Like he was very injury prone. Carlos Delgado was a legend. But those were the players that I was like, man, those guys are awesome. But after 2009, I basically stopped watching the Mets. I basically gave it a break. But as time moved on, and then my siblings have moved on in life. I remember before my siblings move particularly when certain relatives of mine's have you know gone certain places and I wasn't going to see them as much. Or how about this? How about this? I started taking my siblings to baseball games, right? Because I know we don't have the same time together as we did when we were kids. So I started taking them to Mets games and Yankees games, and in 2020 in was it 2023 or 2022, you know. And I actually started watching these players instead of just hearing about them on the radio or via ESPN, and really started watching, really watching baseball again. But yeah, my favorite players, yeah. Now, do I have a favorite pitcher? There's a pitcher on the hmm. There's a pitcher. The Mets have the Mets debuted a pitcher this year who's really good. Like they already gave him some time. I'm blanking on his name, but he's a ginger. That's all I remember about him. He had red hair, but he was really good. I'm blanking on his name right now. Let me see if I can actually look up his name. Mets debut pitcher 2025. Let me search that up real quick. Yeah, Nolan McLean. Yeah, man. He was like I actually like I didn't well, I didn't go to the game, but I saw his first game. Oh yeah, and so let me actually read out his comment, Joseph's comment right here. He said that he said the Dominican bros are in shambles. So, dude, I don't know if I've been talking to Dominicans recently, just in passing. They've been in. They People will act like sports doesn't matter. Sports matters. Sports matters. Things have happened to. I don't even want to get into detail, but I've been seeing Dominicans in a better mood lately. Obviously, before last night, but that was because the Dominican bros they was out here kicking ass, whipping ass all tournament. They was outside of this game. They was out here whipping ass. Whole tournament just dominating. Sports matters. People can act like sports doesn't matter and this doesn't matter. A lot of the Dominicans that I saw, they were in like a good mood. They were leading up to Leading up to last night. Yeah, Nolan McLean though. Let me see if I can actually share the screen. Let me share the screen with you. Yeah. Nolan McLean. He was. I've the few times I've seen like he's already like they're gonna give him a lot more shine this year. They're gonna give him a lot more reps. He damn near had a no hitter in his debut. Damn near. So I was like, yo, this dude was really from the few times I saw him by the end of the MLB season, I was impressed. I was impressed enough. But the another good pitcher is that I saw this year was from the Mariners, and I'm blanking on his name. Let me see if I can bring up the Mariners pitcher. He's an Asian dude, or he has a Asian background, or sorry, Asian parents, but born in the USA. Let's see, Mariners pitcher. All yeah, he was an all star. Yeah, I think his name. Oh, they just showed it. Brian Wu, right? Am I getting it? That's his name. Yeah, Brian Wu. Good. Brian Wu was pretty good the few times I saw him. But the only reason why I was paying attention to the Mariners was because of Cal Raleigh. So whatever that catcher's name is. I hope I'm saying his name right. But anyways, let's get back to the topic. Let's do some things here. Shout out, man. I recommend it. You know, me personally, like say like if I were to have kids, I would have my kids do sports like a baseball, you know, lacrosse, right, hockey. I don't want them to just do okay, football, basketball, whatever. And especially I would say this if my kid, like say if I were to have a kid, if I were to have a kid and he had the height advantage, if he was physically gifted, then I wouldn't push him to do basketball or football. I would have him do baseball or hockey. That's just me. You know what I mean? Um that's just especially if I had a kid living in America. Basketball is filled up to the brim. Football is filled up to the brim. Um it just that's just I think you need to expose your kid to all different types of sports because it's not necessarily just about if he wants to play that when he grows up. It's just the exposure. So now when your son has a kid, or if he is mentoring other people, he has options to give. In terms of if a kid asks your son or your daughter, "What sport can I play? What activity can I do?" and you can literally offer that person can offer a variety of things. You know, so this is very important. But anyways, anyways, let's bring up Instagram real quick. Let me bring up Instagram. Let's bring up a video because a lot of these things that I'm talking about is actually everything is all connected. It's interesting. Like I'll think I'm going off topic, but it's really everything is all connected. Even when we're talking about, you know, where we're talking about situations where we're talking about, you know, the rise of what's it, female predators or what's it, female teacher predators, whatever. And then I will bring up then I will bring up how young women will talk about how they were dating older dudes when they were in high school. These things are all connected. I would I would start off and be like, okay, this is gonna be off topic, but then I'm like, oh, actually, this is actually connected to this. I've made the observation that those same female teachers that are getting caught with kids, and then when you look at the age that they get caught with, right? So say it's a 25-year-old married female teacher, she gets caught with 15-year-old student or 14-year-old student or 16-year-old student. I've said this, I'm willing to bet if you look at her life when she was 15 or when she was 14, she was probably messing with a man that was 25, 24. That's why in her mind, she might think this is okay. You know, this is common when you talk about if you have somebody that was, you know, usually they'll always say they don't want to hire, it's best not to hire men that were molested or they were taken advantage of because a lot of those people that do that, that happened to them as well when they were kids. So I think we need to start using that logic with a lot of the females, particularly the ones that willingly were dating. I'll say especially the ones that were, I will say, yeah, especially the ones that were willingly dating older men. I'm not like I because people will just say, oh, how about the ones that were truly victims? And yes, that's true as well. But I really have my eye on those ones that are willingly, where you have like female teenagers, right? And they're willingly going out their way to date grown men. You have to really watch. You got to keep an eye on those type of women. You really have to, because in their mind, they think this is okay. So we definitely gotta go into that. All right. So here we go. I've seen this video right here, and people think this is funny, but I beg to differ. I beg to differ. So there's this guy. Let me see if I can open up his Instagram page. Here we go. We have this guy on Instagram. He's going viral. And he's just basically going around harassing young black men that are that are having dates with white women, right? So this is the like he does a lot of other things on his channel, but that's what he's going viral for, right? Going up to young black men that are on dates with white women and basically saying, "Hey man, what you doing?" and making content out of it. So this is some interesting stuff, but we're gonna press play and watch this particular interaction. I'm gonna call this video "Side Effects of the Gynocracy," right? But anyways,
Black man, I first off want to say I love you, right? And I feel like it's Black History Month, and I wouldn't be doing my part if I wouldn't say these white women are dangerous, okay?
Wait, I'm trying to see something. I'm trying to see something.
So just make sure you keep your eyes open, all right? I love you, man. Happy Black History Month. I see you. Love, brother. Good to see you, man.
Wait, I'm trying to see something.
Me personally, this is weirdo behavior. This is weirdo behavior. Proof, you can see it in the comments, right? If you look at the comments, is you have a whole bunch of black women cheering him on. Look, like if you, I'm talking about if you go on the video and you look at the comments, I can't really zoom in any higher than this. It's basically all black women. This is so mean. Do it again, right? Bro behind the counter was like, "Thank you for your service." It's basically all black women laughing, having you know, doing whatever. But this is weirdo behavior. This is I'll say this because it's interesting. He's only going up. This is why I don't like about stuff like this. He's never gonna go up to a black male athlete, meaning a well-known black male NBA athlete who might have security that might smack you for doing something disrespectful like that. He's going up to regular black dudes that are just out with a girl who just happens to be white, and now you're trying to turn into Dr. Umar. Like I said, these are side effects of the gynocracy, where you have other black men doing the dick policing that black women would usually do. Now, mind you, all the black women that are cheering him on in the comments, they probably go out with white dudes themselves. And we already know what the pattern is. The black women that are mostly against black men dating white women are the ones that date white men themselves. I don't know why this is a thing. it's so like I'm talking about the loudest on Twitter, the loudest on Instagram, the loudest on these podcasts. Then you go through their past, and then it's literally tweets or social media posts of them lusting after white men. But they seem to be so concerned about a white woman finessing a black man, and they're so against they turn into Dr. Umar. Once the NBA draft happens or the NFL draft happens, they turn into Dr. Umar and all these people talking about generational wealth leaving and all this all this nonsense. Right? Hold on, I had to let me edit the title of this video. I forgot to say female teacher predators. I just said female predators, but that also applies as well. But anyways, stream must be what the fuck? Must be scheduled to feature within 1 year. Please edit the start time. Oh, never mind. I don't think I can edit it. Never mind. I don't think I can edit the title. But anyways. These are the things, like, this is not, look, if I'm out with my whatever chick that I'm with, whatever race, I don't want to see any of y'all young ninjas or old ninjas pulling up on me. Don't do that. I might I'm warning. This is a PSA to the hold on, let me see if I can put this picture up real quick. Do I still have that picture? Here it is. Sound a warning real quick to any of y'all ninjas. You think you're gonna pull up on me and whatever, I'm talking about whatever race. If you pulling up on me and you're doing that nonsense, I might take your phone and throw it. Don't play with me. please don't do it. I'm begging you, do not do this. Because this is weird. This is very weird. Because look, bro, imagine if a white dude was going around and he was doing something similar. Like, they will say, what's wrong with this ninja? Like, they'll be like this, they'll call him an incel, they call him a weirdo. But because it's a black dude, say, oh, man, you can't be with these white. I'm talking about in public with his girl right next to him. You're disrespecting him. Like, this is not, because this is low key. This is a form of emasculation. First of all, because really he can't slap you. He can't slap you because you both of y'all gonna get kicked out the store. So he's already in a lose-lose. So he can't even be like, look, this is my girl. Don't disrespect me with the woman that I'm with right now. Right? So he's already lost points with the girl in her head. So you kind of ruining his whatever he got going on. So look, dudes, any pro blacks, if y'all think this is cool and dandy, all right. All right.
I'm trying to say something.
So, right.
Black man, I first off want to say I love you, right? And I feel like,
yeah, first of all, any dude coming up to you say they love you and they don't even know you, that's already a weirdo, right there. But he's lucky he ran up on a chill ninja. Like I said, it's usually the victims of this, unfortunately, are just going to be regular black dudes that are just trying to live their lives. They don't bother anybody. They look like they don't bother anybody. Those are the guys that get the brunt of it. Trust me, he's not. I'm telling you, whoever what's his boy's name? What's his boy's name here? Forever Banned Locked In King. If he saw a real YN with the dreads, tattoos all on his face, looking dangerous with a white bitch, he would not roll up on him and say, "Hey, man," he would not do that. It's guys like this that end up being victims to these weirdos.
it's Black History Month, and I wouldn't be doing my part if I wouldn't say these white women are dangerous, okay?
Wait, I'm trying to say something. I'm trying to say something.
So just make sure you keep your eyes open, all right? I love you, man. Happy Black History Month.
Dude, stop. Stop. Then they just roll around the club looking for something. What is these hoe ass niggas with their cameras? Look, I'm sorry. That's just weirdo behavior. It's weirdo behavior. But like I said, these are side effects of the granocracy where you have your own men doing the dick policing. This is crazy, man. But anyways, let me read Pyro's comments. He says, I can't stand these ninjas. They complain about involuntary ninjas saying they don't get no 304s and don't deserve no woman. You can't win with these people. He says, what the heck is his background? You haven't used that. Yeah, I've had this picture for a minute, man. I didn't have it. I've had this picture for a while. He said, copy to brand. I don't know what this is. No, never mind. But I've had that picture for a minute. I've had that picture for a while. That picture was one of my thumbnails for an old video I did a while back, and I've always saved that picture. It's a picture that I received on my Facebook from a middle school friend. When I was in middle school. We we found that video, we posted. We thought it was funny back then. But yeah, this is weird. Like I said, this is weirdo behavior. And like I said, the guys like that, they know who to choose. They're not rolling up on no dude like, oh, that's trust me. There's certain people they're not gonna roll up on and try that nonsense with. He rolled up on him because he looked safe. That was a safe couple he ran up on. Instead of just minding his business, he rolled up on a safe-looking couple trying to push that Dr. Umar nonsense. Jesus. I hate guys like that. Because they would never roll up. It could be a well-known married black NBA player, and he's rolling up with a white broad. He's not going to roll up on him with the cameras because they know they're gonna take, because he knows there's consequences to that. They know they're gonna take his phone from him. They're gonna stomp on that phone. They're gonna smack him and tell you, write this NDA or we're gonna sue your ass, and he's gonna take it. Whole ass nigga. But anyways, I can't stand people like that. They know who to roll up on. He said the pro blacks are performative. This is why people have no respect for the pro blacks. This is why, like, when I'll talk about a say if I talk about a guy like a Corey Holcomb or any of these the pro blacks from the 90s, they just automatically think that guy is a liberal, or he's a Democrat, because they see weirdos like this, right? Like a Gen X pro black is different from a millennial pro black, right? And the millennial pro blacks and Gen Z pro blacks are very similar, but a Gen X pro black is way different from a millennial and a Gen Z pro black, right? So they'll just automatically think a Corey Holcomb type, a Paul Mooney type, right? They think, oh, these guys are liberals, right? Because the Gen Z pro blacks / younger millennial pro blacks, it's basically just pro black women. So it's not even pro black. It's just whatever a black woman says, it's right, and you cannot question it. But this is definitely what it is right now. Let me bring up another post in the meantime. Let me bring up another post. But yeah, when you look at the comment section, it says it all. Where you just basically have all black women just being like, "Oh yes, this is good. Like this is awesome." Going up to random people that you don't know and trying to disturb their peace, because you already know he might get. He's sitting there. He's trying to shop for his lady, trying to keep her happy, which is impossible task. By the way, he think, okay, I'm finna take her shop. I'm gonna show him what the, I'm working at my tech job. I'm trying to show her that I can provide and all this nonsense, right? And then some whole ass nigga come up to you with a camera. It's gonna be an argument once you get back home. Like, oh, so what is that about? Like that was his fault. But these are the things that's why I tend not to, me personally, when it comes to couples, even though as blue pill as they are, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt in public, where I'll be like, I really try to respect their peace. If I see somebody with their girl, or I see somebody with their mom, I see somebody with their family, you try to respect their space, But it's just like I don't know sometimes with these things, but anyways. He says I want to like them, but the loud minority is ruining the whole community. Yeah, the pro black, like, I like the pro blacks that I like are the Khalid Muhammad types, right? The Khalid, that's I like him. Khalid Muhammad, right? What's it, Minister Farrakhan? Even though these are not necessarily pro blacks, these are guys that will garner the attention of pro blacks, but those guys at the end of the day, they're Muslims first. They're not necessarily pro blacks first. Now, most of their things is centered around black people and to empower black people, but their message is a lot more, it's a lot more nuanced than what the public gives them. But anyways, I like Minister Farrakhan, Khalid Muhammad. I like Minister Tony Muhammad. Yeah, Minister Tony Muhammad. I really like him because his message actually hit me, where I started really taking personal responsibility of my actions myself, really started looking at myself as a man. I'm like, okay, as a man, I got to do this. As a man, I need to. So I started watching him because I saw him on the Zoe Williams channel. Yeah, I saw him on the Zoe Williams channel. It was like him, Riza Islam, Corey Holcomb, and somebody else. Yeah. But anyways, man, Panda Man says, "My bad. Wasn't supposed to be all okay." I don't know what messages that is. I don't have my comments. All of the comments are supposed to just come through, but some certain, I don't know, certain comments, it gets automatically flagged by YouTube for some reason. So if I don't have my actual YouTube live stream on where I can show the hidden chats, whatever, then that will happen. King Pig 6 says, I never had these teachers when I was in high school. You probably did. I think female, predators. Yeah, I believe female teacher predators from the past. I think they were doing this to young boys in the past. It's just back then, those boys, because boys, unfortunately, they don't, we don't see ourselves as victims, right? And those young boys, they don't see themselves as victims. And that boy could have been like 11 or 12 years old, and he gets molested by a female babysitter that's about 4 years older than him, or whatever, 7 years older than him, and he doesn't see himself as a victim, even though he clearly is. But it's just boys don't tell. And then even by the time when men realize what happened to them when they were kids, they still won't tell. And it could have been like their cousin, their female cousin, that did that to them, and they still won't tell. So so I believe it's a combination of both. I believe there is a rise of female teacher predators, and then on top of, but I also believe this has always been a thing. I believe there's always been as much female teacher predators as there was male teacher predators, or when it comes to predators in the profession, in any profession of involving kids, is always, I believe there's always been a 50-50 split, meaning there's a certain percentage of this population that were preying on kids, and that there was a certain population of females that were preying on kids. It's just the it's just that the male predator, sorry, the male victims, the boys, unfortunately, they tend to get underreported, and then the boys, they don't see themselves as victims, even though they are. So they're not. So the boy victims are not telling on the female teachers. But now, you know, one of the things that the gynocracy have, one of the unintended side effects of the gynocracy is, with the rise of mental health, with the rise of mental health awareness, the rise of predator awareness, right? They had these things, so they thought they was just gonna when they tell boys, talk about your feelings, talk about this, talk about what you actually went through when you were a kid. They thought it was going to expose, patriarchy and men in power doing this. But one of the unintended side effects is it showed the amount of female predators, the amount of women that have taken advantage of their position of power to take advantage of a young boy, right? So that's one of the things. Now you have boys that are coming out and they're saying, "Look, she texting me this. This bitch, or this female teacher, she's literally harassing me." Right? You had, like, there's a bunch of boys that I saw basically this year where the sex didn't even happen. They just showed their parents, or they showed the school authorities, "Look, this she found my number. She's texting me on Snap. She's stalking me on Snap." Right? So back then, boys would be like, "Well, I guess this is my time to sleep with a female teacher," even though that teacher is a predator for doing that. But now that boys are being more expressive, and boys are now putting the game out there, now boys are telling, and rightfully so, telling on these teachers for being predators. Now you're just like, now people are saying, "Oh, okay, this probably has been happening for a while." You know, Tenacity 38 says, "I agree." Yeah. So now that the female predators are now being put on blast, and rightfully so. They just thought that when they were telling boys to open up, they thought it was just gonna, they thought it was just gonna stop with, the Catholic priests, right, or the pastors. But they think it was just that. I'm like, no, you probably, first of all, it's not necessarily just the Catholic priests, but they neglected to be like, well, maybe some of the nuns were on that nonsense as well. Oh, they would never. Okay. Gone are the days, like I said, gone are the days where you could just bring your young boy child to Miss Johnson's house, right? Say you don't have a aunt or a relative to drop off your boy to, because you have work or you have to do something. Man, I gotta, okay. You could, back in the day, you could just drop off your son to a female neighbor's house, because you'll be like, "Oh, she doesn't have a kid. She has some time on her hands." But the reality is, that was probably the wrong decision back then. Now, sorry, back then at that time, and definitely the wrong decision now, because now you have a large cohort of these single women over the age of 30, no kids, childless, no man, and because a lot of these hoes are single, they're going after a demographic of boys These are the only people that would actually get love bombed by a woman of a certain age, of a certain status, or a certain stature. So they go after boys. And yep, he says Karen's out of control. So yep, this is you know what I mean? So it's a lot of those. You're gonna see a lot more. You're gonna see a lot more. I already covered the story. Let me show you something real quick because I've covered this already. Jamaican politician warns of female predators. Let's see if I can bring up that story. Yes, Daishan Gordon. This one from the Jamaica Observer. Yes. Here we go. I'm so happy I just found this. This is good. This is good. This is good. Here we go. Later. So remember when I covered this, where in Jamaica, you had child advocates, right? Because with feminists running these things and you have more women in these positions, it's interesting. Another side, unintended side effect is you have these feminists that are actually doing a little bit more looking out for boy victims than than men themselves, right? So they'll even bring up how you'll even have young women today. They will talk about how they'll have a boyfriend and they'll ask their boyfriend when was the time that you lost your virginity, and then a lot of the guys that they're going out with, they said that they lost their virginity at 12, and they be like, whoa, how old was the woman you were with? And then they'll say that the woman was 19 or 17, 18, 23. And they're like, whoa, you're a victim, like you're a victim. And the guy and the boys will be like, no, we're not. And this is where the feminists are right. Actually, you are a victim. Right. So this is some very interesting stuff. It's a lot of videos like that on TikTok or on Instagram where they'll talk about how their ex, they found out that their ex was basically molested, but they just in their minds, they don't see themselves as getting molested. Right. So right here, this is an old article that I covered on a live stream a while ago. Here we had a female politician, or sorry, a female child's advocate. Right here in Jamaica, children's advocate Diane Gordon Harrison is urging parents and coaches to be on the lookout for women who frequent sporting events and prey on young boys for gratification. So right here, this is a quote from her right here. She says, "Give an eye here, because we're seeing when we have our little football matches or basketball matches and so on, we are seeing grown women in their 30s and 40s who are not parents. All along, we thought they were. But then when we realize that they're actually there because they are interested in footballers who are still students, who are still student athletes, it means that they have academic responsibilities as well, and they are being looked at by these women who have all sorts of intentions towards them," said Gordon Harrison, who is also the national reporter on trafficking in persons. So this is some very interesting stuff, because I know for myself, if me, mind you, I'm 27 or whatever. If I'm 27 and then I show up to a women's college match, if I show up to a women's college match I'm talking about like a soccer match or one of these obscure sports, a women's lacrosse match or a women's field hockey match, and I'm 27, they're gonna look at me like I'm a weirdo. Now, how is and mind you, like, if I don't have a girlfriend on there, or what, even if I did have a girlfriend, they're gonna be like, "You look a little bit older. Why are you here on this? Why are you here in this match?" But apparently in Jamaica, and according to Pyro, He said this has been happening. This is just coming to the attention to the national media now. Now, she's saying that there's women in their 30s and 40s going to high school matches trying to scout out young boys. That just shows you they don't even look like the because women like that have been getting away for this stuff for so long. They don't even see what they're doing is weird. They don't even they look at what they're doing like, we're not doing anything wrong. So this is why I got to show stories like this. And this is why I got to bring attention to this. Because the women, they don't even look at themselves as predators. They don't even see themselves as soulless for doing something like this. So this is very, 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 very interesting stuff. Okay. Now watch this. Because I know this might look like I'm going all over the place, but all of these things are connected, right? Let me bring up another video for you. I'm going to bring up another video. Because all of these things, these are all connected. These are all connected, trust me. So right here we have a woman, a young lady. Oh man, who by her admission is a so-called entrepreneur, so you already know what that means. An EDM, she's a EDM content creator, which all that means is she just goes to these EDM raves and whores herself out. That's all that if you see somebody they say they are an EDM content creator, that doesn't mean they make EDM music or they make EDM beats. No, they just go to raves and slut themselves out. But anyways, let's look at this video right here. In this caption, she says, why I think DJs have so many SA allegations. Now, all of this is going to connect. Trust me, this is all going to connect. But this is why I got to show these videos right here. Anyways, right here. Oh, man. Volume wasn't even on. Here we go. Let's try that again. Here we go.
DJs are sexually assaulting women because they think that a woman being backstage and in the booth with them automatically equals consent to have sex. And I know this because this exact situation has happened to me. When I was in college, a big DJ invited me via Instagram DM to come to his show, and he told me that he could get me and +1 on the guest list. When I pulled up to that show, I'm telling you guys, I didn't even know what a guest list was. I had only been a GA girl for my entire life, and I was so excited. When I arrived at the venue, the team literally walked me back to the green room where I saw the DJ like sitting there by himself. We exchange a few words. He goes up on stage to headline the show, and his team comes up to me and my friend is like, oh, he wants you to be in the booth with him. When I tell you, I am up on stage and me and my friend are the only people on the entire stage, and the entire crowd could see him and just me and her. The DJ has a giant bottle of 1942 and he gives it to me as like, this is just for you guys. It was literally a bottle like this big. Me and my friend both completely black out. We have videos of us going to an after party, and I literally woke up in an Uber with faint memories of having sex with that DJ. And so I think a part of the conversation that is missing when we're talking about why all of these DJs have so many allegations against them, that there is such an extreme power imbalance between a famous touring DJ and a young girl that you are inviting on your guest list. And so instead of telling girls, oh, well, if you don't want to get assaulted, don't drink, don't wear that, don't go to a show, I think we should start telling DJs, if you don't want to get accused of sexual assault, don't have sex with the blackout drunk girl who's 20 years younger than you and was just excited to be in the DJ booth. Because the only cause of sexual assault is the sexual assaulter. It has nothing to do with what the woman was doing or wearing. Hope this helps. A lot of these
Oh man, notice, you know what's interesting? Notice she didn't say the DJ's name. Notice that she didn't even call him. She's indirectly calling him an essayer, but she's never gonna directly say that DJ essayed me. But she's just putting it out there, the scenes, the circumstances, like he already had the upper hand. One thing you're gonna notice, that we're starting to see with women, and it's pretty clear now. Anytime any encounter with the opposite sex when it comes to women, if they did not get the better end of the deal, that automatically makes you a predator as a man. Let me repeat that. If the woman did not get the better end of the deal in the interaction, whether it was where particularly if sex was involved, if she did not get a better end of the deal after with the result of it, you're automatically a predator. It could have been completely consensual. You could have been in a whole relationship with that woman. If she didn't get the better end of the deal, you're the predator. That's just automatic. So I want you guys to keep that in mind later on. So because I know this might be a little bit off topic, but just keep that in your brain later on. But let's do a rewind of this, because this is very interesting. this is some very interesting stuff, man. By the way, shout out to Pastor Geno Jennings. I've been watching some of his messages lately, some of his sermons. You can tell, but this is some very interesting stuff. Tenacity 38 says, "How about you don't put yourself in a bad situation?" Hey, you're not even allowed to say that anymore, right? They say if you don't put, like, just to say that, women will call you a predator. They will say that, oh, we need to search up what you got in your hard drive and all this stuff, just by saying, maybe I'm talking about even before this situation happened. You could have told her yourself, hey, you probably shouldn't be going out there partying with these people that you don't know. I mean, if a celebrity or somebody's famous, they're calling you backstage, you should already know what that means. And trust me, I'm pretty sure boys have told her not to do that. Her boyfriend probably told her not to do that, because trust me, she has a boyfriend, or she has somebody that thinks that's locked in with her. Trust me, and they told her not to do that. But that's, like I said, that's a whole other discussion. But just keep that in mind. Any interaction with a female, particularly when sex is involved, if she does not get the better end of the deal, it's not a loss. It's not a loss in her mind. In her mind, that guy's a predator. I didn't lose. That guy was a predator. That's her mindset. But anyways, let's do a rewind. Let's do a replay of this.
These DJs are sexually assaulting women because they think that a woman being backstage and in the booth with them automatically equals consent to have sex. And I know,
bruh. like I said, these are the same women, because they keep pushing it further and further down. They'll say stuff like this. They'll be like, just because a guy with money and power asks you to come to their hotel room, that doesn't mean that sex is supposed to be. Bruh, why would they call you into the hotel room? First of all, what talents do you have? Like, just like, what talents? What's so special about you, Miss Female, right? Miss Young, Miss Young Girl, Miss whatever you want to call yourself. What's so special about you that some celebrity or some musician or whatever, some entertainer wants you in their booth, wants you in there? You're there to either be a beautiful, piece of furniture or a convenient piece of toilet paper. I mean, this is just life. You'll have some artists, they will just hire young women to be their muse, just to be an inspiration. But it's nothing special about you. It's just that's just the artist taking advantage of his own biology and trying to see if that helps him, because a lot of the inspiration for most young male artists, or sorry, not even young male artists, male entertainers, the inspiration is access to beautiful young women, even if they're not sleeping with them. It's just that's the inspiration. So you should already know that's all of that is on the table, and that's just when you're having a mature conversation with with an actual mature like with the actual mature person. This is not even up for debate, you know. But women will always still push, young women like this will still push this nonsense.
I know this because this exact situation has happened to me. When I was in college, a big DJ invited me via Instagram DM to come to his show, and he told me that he could get me and plus one on the guest list. When I pulled up to that show, I'm telling you guys, I didn't even know what a guest list was. I had only been
You were in college and you didn't know what a guest list was. You didn't know what a VIP was. You didn't know where all the hoes were. You didn't know where all the artist hoes. Stop. Come on. Stop it.
been a GA girl for my entire life, and I was so excited. When I arrived at the venue, the team literally walked me back to the green room where I saw the DJ like sitting there by himself.
By the way, let's look at her profile one more time. Does this look like a girl? When you're looking at her profile on Instagram, does this look like a inexperienced, you know what I mean? A young woman with no experience? Like, come on, stop. Stop it. I could already see the freak in her, like, okay. I'm sorry. Look at this right here. Come on, stop it. How do you have outfits like this already at such a young age? But you were in college and you had no idea what a guest list, a VIP list. You didn't know what DJs was doing with hoes backstage. Come on, man. Let's not doing this. let's come on, man. Stop. It's almost like even like I remember Corey Holcomb did something recently. He was talking about the girl that won the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, the Asian girl that went viral. And he was like, "Oh yeah," he looked at her. He's like, "Oh yeah, she a freak." It was the girl with the braces. He's like, he said, "Yeah, she a freak," and I was like, "I agree," and I was like, "Yeah, I definitely." I said the exact same thing when I saw her. I'm like, "Yeah, she a freak. She'll go." But it's a lot of dudes. They can't, for some reason they can't see it. I don't know what it is, but that's a whole other. We could do a whole teaching on that, anyways.
We exchange a few words. He goes up on stage to headline the show, and his team comes up to me and my friend is like, "Oh, he wants you to be in the booth with him." When I tell you, I am up on stage and me and my friend are the only people on the entire stage, and the entire crowd could see him and just me and her.
So what? They thought they were special because they came up on stage with an artist. Look, man, this is. I don't think this is stupidity. This is just what you call it? Just straight. They're just being facetious at this point. I refuse to believe anybody's that stupid. Tenacity 38 says getting drunk with strangers without friends around is a huge red flag. Exactly. If you have a woman that's willing to do that to herself, that's first of all, that's a hoe, and second of all, that's if she really doesn't know what she's doing, that you can't entrust her to be the mother of your kids or to be a person to be in a serious relationship with, because sometimes it doesn't even have to be a situation where you have kids with her. Sometimes you have a girl and an emergency happens, you got to watch your niece or your nephew or something, and then they stay over at the house, and because your bitch has terrible judgment, she doesn't keep an eye on the kid and something bad happens to the kid, or she does something stupid like call somebody over to the house that she doesn't even trust herself, and then something bad happens to the kid under your watch because you have a bitch with poor judgment. They just I could just go to a club and get drunk and a DJ calls me onto the crowd. DJ calls me onto the booth, and I just feel like the only girl in the world and all this nonsense. Come on, man, stop. Oh man, Melamu says, I don't understand why women don't have a cutoff point. Like, I don't ever aim to black out. But yeah, like it's white girls and Asian girls that grew up in the suburbs, they have this thing where they'll just they're the queens of just getting drunk at a random place and then waking up and acting like they didn't know what happened. They're the queens of doing that, but particularly white, I'll say particularly white women or white adjacent women. I like to say white adjacent. They're the queens of that. Yeah, Cope Approach says, I was so innocent. I didn't even know what was going on. Like, that stuff gets old after a while. Do men actually fall for this? Yeah, they think that Elisa Liu, what's her name in the Olympics? They think she's a pure woman, but people don't understand, like, women like Elisa Liu, there used to be plenty of women like that. But because of the climate, girls like that aren't that much. And the bar is so low. So, because since most women are fat and insufferable, if they just find a chick that's decent looking and is in shape and has some kind of a personality, some kind of a quirky personality, everybody's gonna simp over that broad. It doesn't even matter what her body count is, right? But anyways, that's a whole other story for another day.
The DJ has a giant bottle of 1942 and he gives it to me as like, this is just for you guys. It was literally a bottle like this big. Me and my friend both completely black out. We have videos of
Bruh, so they took the bottle. Hold on. So they took that bottle from the You see, and people wonder why they don't get taken seriously. Or I'll say me personally, I can't take hoes seriously because there's still plenty of men that will believe that those DJs were predators or whatnot, but you'll have countless women talk about how untrustworthy men are, how you can't trust nothing. They'll go to a bar with they'll go to the bar with that fake, what's that cap thing that stops people from spiking their drinks. They acting like men are just going out there spiking people's drinks. They'll do all of this nonsense just to meet a dude with some kind of clout. They think the guy has some kind of clout, and then basically all of their guards are removed. They see a guy with a little bit of clout, a little bit of fame, a little bit of whatever. He would never spike my drink. He's famous. He has money. Ooh, look at the big bottle, shiny. Let me take the drink. I'm just like, the fuck? Oh my God. This is some funny stuff, man. Can I rewind that? I don't think I can rewind it, but this is beyond hilarious at this point. Hold on for a second, guys. I'm gonna open this in another tab. I'm gonna open this video in another tab. I wanted to rewind that specific part. This is because at this point. Oh my goodness, man. This is too funny at this point. Man. Here we go. Let me see if I can find that part.
A lot of these DJs are sexually assaulted. Change a few words. He goes up on stage to headline the show, and his team comes up to me and my friend is like, oh, he wants you to be in the booth with him. When I tell you, I am up on stage and me and my friend are the only people on the entire stage, and the entire crowd could see him and just me and her. The DJ has a giant bottle of 1942 and he gives it to me as like, this is just for you guys. It was literally a bottle like this big. He and my friend.
And they took it. Like I said, they don't all that performative stuff. Oh, I can't be walked home by, man. They're willing to do this to me. But if it's a DJ with clout, they're willing to, they throw all of that, whatever. Throw all of that aside, whatever. Look at the big shiny bottle. You know what it reminds me of, all these hoes that were talking about how, predatory, men in the Middle East are, and how they're this and they're that. Then I saw a video of UAE woman, a woman that was living in the United Arabs Emirates, and she was going shopping for jewelry because her husband had a lot of money. And she was like, this is the life of a UAE girl being spoiled by blah blah blah. It's basically all the comments were American women. Ooh, shiny. It's like everything that they said about men of the Middle East being abusive and all this stuff. It goes all out the window because they see something shiny. They see something nice. They see something pretty. I'm like, bruh. I'm like, that's all it takes. Good Lord.
And both completely blackout. We have videos of us going to an after party, and I literally woke up in an Uber with faint memories of having sex with that DJ. And so I think a part of the conversation.
So this is very disingenuous. You, first of all, in my opinion, you already wanted to fuck the DJ. That's just me. This is not some, oh, I'm just up there to party with the DJ. You already knew you wanted to sleep with the DJ and do whatever you were willing to take that drink. You were willing to take that ride. You wanted to sleep with the DJ. Let's not be stupid here, right? That's just me. Now, if we're taking what you're saying at face value, you cannot be trusted with anything important. Like, bitch, I cannot even entrust you to watch my dog if I gotta go out of state. If I gotta watch my if I have a pet frog, I can't trust you with my pet frog because clearly you lack judgment. This whole thing where she's trying to frame it as SA, even though she doesn't say directly, he SA'd me. She just goes, I just have faint memories of what I did. No, everything you did was consensual. You're just trying to make it seem like the guy was a predator. But if we're taking what you're saying at face value, you gotta be you one of the most retarded bitches that, and you cannot be trusted with anything important.
That is missing when we're talking about why all of these DJs have so many allegations against them, that there is such an extreme power imbalance between a famous touring DJ and a young girl that you are inviting on your guest list.
And this is where Corey Holcomb comes in, right? When I see a situation like that, I'm like, oh, so the DJ didn't pay you. The guy that slept with you, he just fucked you and then was like, all right, thank you. On to the next city where I'm gonna invite 2 other so-called lucky women to join me on the crowd to party with them and sleep with them later on. We felt like we were the only 2 ladies on the stage, and oh my God. This is funny though. This is very, very, very funny.
And so instead of telling girls, oh, well, if you don't want to get assaulted, don't drink, don't wear that, don't go to a show, I think we should start telling DJs, if you don't want to get accused of sexual assault, don't have sex with the blackout drunk girl who's 20 years younger than you and was just excited to be in the DJ booth. A lot of these DJs are sexually assaulting women because they think that a woman being backstage and in the booth with them automatically equals consent to have sex. And I know this because...
My bad, guys. My bad. I double clicked, but notice she didn't say directly that he assaulted her. This is the stuff that you have to pay attention to. She describes a hypothetical situation which is similar to hers. Even though with her situation, the reality is she consented to all of this. She's just trying to frame it in a very sneaky way. And then on top of that, she's not being serious about it because she doesn't want to say the DJ's name. Because she probably had to sign an NDA. She probably signed an NDA. She probably did sign an NDA. But she's still trying to frame it as, oh, these guys are predators.
A lot of these DJs are sexually assaulting
if
women.
you don't want to get
because they
accused
think that
of
a woman
sexual assault,
don't have sex with the blackout drunk girl who's 20 years younger than you and was just excited to be in the DJ booth. Because the only cause of sexual assault is the sexual assaulter. It has nothing to do with what the woman was doing or wearing. Hope this helps.
This is some interesting stuff, man. Yeah, the Disney narrative. To MF said, look at the shiny bottle. Yeah, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. It's Let me look at these comments real quick. Somebody says she's still bragging about being up in the VIP. Yeah, she's basically bragging about it, but she's still trying to frame it as, oh, this guy was a predator. But it was very slick. It was very slick wording on her end. Very slick wording. Oh man, somebody said if you're not naming names, it's because you're not confident in your story and you don't want to get sued. Exactly. That's why she's not naming no names. That's why she'd even say directly that he did this. That these are the things that people might miss. But that shows you all the signs of, like, this is not a situation where, oh, I didn't know if I was gonna, if I drink this bottle, this was gonna happen to me. If I did this, no, she knew exactly what she was doing the whole entire time. What she's doing right now is actually very evil. She's trying to frame this situation like she got taken advantage of, which is, to me, that's just beyond foul. That's beyond foul. Of course, the women agree with her. But as I said earlier, keep in mind, now that I'm going into the real topic right here, keep in mind, when you have women complaining about patriarchy and this and all this stuff, what they want is special treatment. They think patriarchy is just, or was it male privilege? It's just men doing what they want when they want to do it. And their template of men is the situation that she described. A man with enough clout, a man with, or not necessarily clout, but a man with enough juice to get a woman to do whatever, to basically, a man with enough juice or clout or whatever to get a woman to do whatever she wants, to do whatever the man wants her to do without payment. So that's their template of men, or what they aspire to be and what they think all men. This is what they think all men can. They benefit from this, right? Yeah, Kevlar bodysuit. Said if a woman did that to me, she better walk around every day in a Kevlar bodysuit. But this is why even back then, like, people will, certain women will go missing back then. They'll, but the stuff that you see women doing today, you understand why things were done in the past. Because you'll have a woman, she'll just feel like she got taken advantage of, and just because she feels like something, that could still ruin your whole career, that could still ruin your status, that could still ruin your whatever you had going for you. So you're probably gonna have to go missing. All right, there have been men that have gone missing for way less. There's men that have gone missing for telling the truth. And now you think you're just going to tell a lie on a man that has clout, or a man that has been placed somewhere? Like, you'll have a politician, right? Remember, there was I gave you a story from Facebook where it was a nurse She talked about how her mom was a stripper, and the stripper was she was sleeping with the politician that had a wife, and she was threatening the politician from Detroit to that she was going to expose the affair happening between them, and then she ended up dying mysteriously. Like she ended up getting shot up or something. She got like she got kidnapped or shot up, and they didn't know who it was. And for some reason, the nurse was like, "We need to push this story. My mom was a victim," and I was like, "Your mom is a dumbass. This is a politician. There have been men that were going to expose that politician. There's certain like male journalists that have gone missing for exposing corruption, for just like I'm talking about little money. They were gonna drop a story on the politician. The male journalists go missing. They don't end up dropping the story. And you think you are a prostitute, a female stripper at that, right? And you think you're gonna just drop some dirt on a politician, ruin his image, ruin his whatever, and you think you're gonna extort the politician for money? And I'm like, and you think people are gonna go out their way to help you in your case? I'm just sitting there like, boy, some people they're they don't have common sense. You think I'm gonna risk my neck out there because a stripper wanted to extort a politician for some money? Because a stripper caught feelings for a married man. Man, please. What did you think was gonna happen? You lucky you didn't go missing as well. There have been people gone missing for trying to tell the truth, and you're gonna lie on a man, or you're gonna extort a politician for some money. and we're supposed to jump on this. I'm sitting there laughing. Do you know how many journalists, I'm talking about male and female journalists, that went missing because they were going to expose, the COVID nonsense that was happening? They were going to expose Dr. Fauci, that guy. I'm talking about the male and female journalists that went missing because they were going to expose that nonsense. And you got strippers thinking they you thought you were gonna. Oh yeah, I don't know. She said if she got pregnant by the politician, but she was gonna basically expose him, and she was trying to extort the so-called married man. I'm like, you thought you was gonna extort a high-level politician I'm talking about in Detroit. Nevertheless, one of the original big cities of America. When you're talking about mayor of Detroit, mayor of whatever, or mayor of New York City, mayor of this comes with this comes with a level of, this is not no ordinary job. You have to be spotless. You can't have nothing. Her car got shut up, and the police didn't do no investigating. Dumbass. Absolute dumbass. These are the things that I don't know, man. But anyways, let me show you the countless stories right here. Let's go into the main topic. Let's go into the main topic. Let's go into the main topic right here. Oh man. So I'm going to show you countless stories just saved off of my bookmarks, just saved off of my Twitter. The countless stories that I've saved and that you can look up that I'm going to show you right here. So this is like you going. This is a directly to my bookmarks. Directly to my bookmarks. Watch this. Right here. One story. Chicago teacher has been charged for having sex with a 14-year-old student over 45 times. She revealed to the student that her husband had an affair with her best friend. She faces up to 60 years in prison. Her husband is standing by her side along the way. Right? So that's just one situation. But notice it's a teacher, right? And notice the students that they're targeting, the male students that they're targeting, they're getting younger and younger and younger. So all these things about, oh, that guy was a lucky student. I'm like, okay, keep these. I'm like, these male students keep getting younger and younger. Every time I'm looking at the news, it's always not. It started 17, now it's 16, now it's 15, now it's 14, now it's 13. Is he still a lucky? Is it still a lucky boy then? If he gets to 10 years old, 9 years old, is he still a lucky boy? They're just going to keep getting going younger, younger, and younger. Right? That's just one story. That's just one story. As I scroll down, I know another one will pop up. No, not the OF one. Not the OF. Right here. Music teacher, Naomi, Tiki Craig. She was 33. She raped a 12-year-old student despite being married with a young child at the time and gets pregnant by the 12-year-old male student. So she raped the 12-year-old male student and kept his kid. This is crazy work. She pled guilty on January 27th, 2026 to 15 charges related to the sexual abuse of a male student. This is wild work. This is wild work. This is wild work. It says police state that Miss Naomi Craig gave birth on January 8th, 2026 to a child fathered by the victim, as confirmed by the DNA testing. Now, keep in mind the way the system is set up, she can legally go after him for child support. That's the sick part. Older female can rape a male student, keep his kid, and then go after the male victim for child support once he turns 18. This is wild work. This is what happens in the gynocracy. Let me search her up. And it's interesting that a lot of these teachers will be married. And it's interesting, I've always said, to me, when it comes to the thought professions, right? I always said the teachers are worse than the nurses. In my opinion, just in my opinion, because at least the nurses will, in the words of AJ, at least the nurses will cheat on you with an adult. The teachers, however, they'll cheat on you with a janitor, another fellow male teacher, a maintenance worker, and then, but most importantly, they're depending on what kind of school they are, they will cheat on you with a kid, with someone that is underage. It could be an underage boy, it could be an underage female. And you know, this is some interesting stuff. This is why I say this is also some interesting stuff, because you'll see these headlines start getting they start getting taken seriously. This is another interesting thing. This is how they don't care about male victims. They'll show a headline. They'll be like 28-year-old teacher caught with graping 15-year-old student. And they won't say the gender of the student, but most people are already assuming the victim is male. And you have all these comments, oh, this guy's he's lucky. And then they'll find out that the victim was a female, and then the energy changes quickly. Because believe it or not, there's plenty of female teachers that will target younger females. Yes, this happens because I've seen the one of these Facebook posts. Yeah, oh man, this is crazy. So right here, so this is the official story right here. So this story took place in Washington, in the state of Washington, where she's messing with the kid. The kid was what? Yeah, the kid was 12 years old. The boy was 12 years old, and she got pregnant by the dude. Like this is crazy work. This is crazy work. Whoa, hold on for a second. Dr. Fourth Wall 760, he says, good to see you again, Chris Mike. He said he was very lucky to come across this content at 17. Damn. That means that means you're ahead of most. That means you're big. If you come across this kind of stuff at like 17, basically in high school, you know, that means you already. He says, as someone who was groomed myself by an older student, I have nothing but resentment for these women. Ooh. So this also happens too. And I've actually seen that happen with, first of all, I'm sorry that happened to you. And then also I know a lot of other young men who they had an older female, student, right? And they were probably freshmen or sophomore. A lot of them were sophomores still, from what I saw. They were sophomores, and then they'll have like a girl that was like a senior, basically trying to groom them to be what they want them to be. And it's kind of because it's messed up, because they could go for a dude around their age, but they don't want to do that. They specifically go after a freshman or a sophomore. And the boy at the time will think, oh, we'll take it as, oh, this must be a good thing. Nah, no, this is predatory behavior. When I was a freshman in high school, I remember, it was a girl, it was a senior who asked who asked me to prom, believe it or not, when I was a freshman in high school. And at first I thought, oh, they're pranking me. And they're like, nah, they're dead serious. She's dead serious. She wants to take you to prom. I'm like, and even me, as when I'm looking back at that situation, because I said no, obviously. I was like, nah, I'm good. I in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm still being pranked. But no, she was dead serious. She wanted to take me to prom. But thank God, I am so happy I did not go, because at that time I never had sex. I've never did this, and people might think it's cute, but if you flip the genders, if you have a male senior, an 18-year-old, or even if it's a 17-year-old, if you have an 18-year-old senior or a 17-year-old male senior asking a 14-year-old girl to go to prom, they're gonna be like, nah. They're gonna be like, yo, what's up with this situation? It's gonna be, even if it's allowed, people are gonna be looking at that situation. Now imagine I go to prom. I take her up on that offer. I lose my virginity because clearly she's not a virgin. clearly. She takes my virginity. I get love bombed. I lose my mind because I don't know what pussy feels like. Right? Mind you, that girl, I ended up seeing her with like 3 other or 4 other dudes in 1 year. 3 like at least 3 or 4 other dudes. One of them, two of the dudes, no, one of the dudes was my teammates because I was a freshman playing varsity, right? I was already on the varsity team as a freshman. I already saw her with one of my teammates and then 3 other dudes later on this year. So now imagine if I go to prom with her or some kind of dance, whatever dance that they was asking me to go to. I'm pretty sure it was prom though. I go in there and I'm looking at her being jealous and I'm losing my mind. I could have lost my mind. I could have ended up getting into fights, getting suspended, trying to defend me lady's honor. But that's because I'm being love bombed and I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm in love with this girl because it's going to be my first girl. And meanwhile, she has all this experience on me and she's basically manipulating me. So now I could have been put in a terrible situation. Because let's keep it a bug. It wasn't just she wanted to take me to the dance. She wanted to fuck me. That's what she wanted to do. But for some reason, people don't see that as predatory from the female side. That is very predatory because they know the boys of her age or the men her age, they already know her. So they're not really, they're like, we know how you're like. So she goes, let me try something different. First of all, let me try a ninja. But I can't just try any ninja. Let me try a young ninja that is, mind you, I had no connects to the high school that I went to. I had no connects. I'm brand new. Everybody that I went to high school with, everybody was brand new to me. I probably had 2 or 3 people that I knew from my middle school that went to the same high school as me. But I'm talking about I knew none of the upperclassmen, none of the juniors, sophomores. Everything was literally by faith. So let me get this unassuming dude. At that time, I was a lot more physically mature than my peers at the time. Let me get this physically mature looking youngster that doesn't know anything about anything, and let me just see if I can rock his world real quick. But thankfully, I was so traumatized from middle school, meaning because in middle school, somebody pranked me about somebody wanted to going out with me, and it was a prank. So it was a dudes on the other line pranking me. So I was traumatized from that. So I was just like, oh nah, this is a prank. This is a prank. So I played it off. I was like, no, I'm not comfortable with doing this. And I remember like even one of my teams was like, oh, don't worry about it. It's not as whatever. And like, and I remember he came up to me, one of the guys, like, you know that she was dead serious about that, right? I was like, oh okay, well, this is what it is. She asked me, apparently, she asked me this right after a game I played. So this was crazy work. Crazy work. But I am so happy I did not. Because looking back, I'm like, yo, I could have been really messed up from that. I'm like, really, because I don't think no, I don't think I had the temperament to even handle a situation. I don't even think I had the temperament to handle a relationship. Like when I got into my first relationship, I was in college. So I was finally able to, and seeing what I saw in college, I was able to handle, okay, if this doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. I was able to finally, it took me a while for me to be like, okay, if it don't work out, that's life, right? But yeah, especially at that time, I was 14. I mean, the most I had at the time was probably a couple lap dances from girls my age, mind you, girls my age, some spin the bottle games, some cheeky games here and there, but with girls my age, that's the most I had up to that point at age 14. I ain't had no girl going on the back of me, like, going down on me in the high school stereo. I had none of that. So if I went straight into that relationship, that would have been really bad for me. I'm talking about that would have been awful. Looking back, I could have really been in a bad place mentally, like mental state wise. It's a lot of I'll say this, just a lot of young black boys. That's part of their trauma too, where they were 12, they were 13, they had a babysitter, they had a female that was supposed to be their guide, an older female that was supposed to show them around school, and they end up fucking, and they can never really look at relationships the same. That happens to I'll say a lot of young black boys. But anyways, that's a whole other story. Dr. Fourth Wall says through baby trapping and robbing might as well be the same. It's the same. Yeah, this is the exact same thing. Tenacity 38 says, damn, thank God you avoided that situation. Man, like looking back, I was like, whew. I just didn't realize how deep it was. You know what I mean? I just thought like, because I remember I told my cousin at the time, oh yeah, because actually, whatever. I'll bring her up. I told my cousin at the time, and she found out. I'm like, oh, so you weren't lying about this situation. I'm like, yeah. She really, yeah. And she said, why? And I remember my cousin. She didn't say like, why didn't you say yes? She was like, you know what? You probably did the right thing by not taking the offer. So I was like, oh, okay, because I was kind of, because even during that time I was like, should I like, I remember being like a junior or like a sophomore, and I was like, should I have taken that offer? But it took me until me being like 17 or 18 where I was like, yeah, that was probably the best idea not to do that. And then it took me until like the like 20 or 21 when I realized actually that was a really bad situation. It's like it's more than just, oh, that's just some a relationship that I could have had. No. I was not ready for that situation. And luckily that did not happen to me. But a lot of people downplayed it. Looking back, I'm talking about teammates of mine. And they were just like, oh, hey, why don't you? But they never pushed it. They were just like, hey, why didn't you? She was feeling you, blah. I'm like, yeah, I don't. At the time, I was like, I don't think this is a good idea. Wait, what? Let me see. Long live the king. Oh, okay. He says YouTube wouldn't allow me to post my comment as a super chat. I'll say this: there's certain comments that even super chats, like even if you're doing a super chat, there's certain comments you can't make. Like I remember I was trying to send a super. In the past, I remember trying to send some super chats to Corey Holcomb, but there's certain comments you just can't put. Oh man, Tenacity 38 says she realized she could control you, but thankfully it did not work. Yeah, I was very naive at that time. I was the youngest dude on the team. I had very minimal, like I'm talking about experience, and I definitely came across like that because I wasn't talking to no girls. I was a square as square does, you know what I mean? But this is some interesting stuff. But let me go back down the list on my bookmarks. Let me go right back down the list. I'm gonna check something on my YouTube real quick. I'm gonna check some of my settings because I'm gonna do a double check just to make sure my YouTube isn't being on nonsense voluntarily. Let me check something out real quick. We're gonna go on edit because somebody said even earlier that one of the comments or whatever it's okay. Yeah, everything's normal. So yeah, but you still got to watch out. Even if you send a super chat, you got to make sure, like, there's certain things you cannot say for some reason. You it's just like it's what like unfortunately that's what it is sometimes. But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Let me see if I can scroll right back down on Twitter. So that's just one incident right there. Yep, married high school gym teacher. Mind you, a lot of these stories were in a frame that I saved was like it was in a frame of 1 week that I saved these stories. It was like the first week of March, and all of these stories started popping up. I was like, good Lord. This is crazy. Married high school gym teacher charged with SAing a student. Can't believe I'm going to do this. And there's a story. Actually, let me cover this story first. Excuse me. Let me turn off my ad blocker. Even though it should be already paused for this site, but anyways. But let's stick to this story right here. We got this story with the PE teacher. Married high school PE teacher has been charged with essaying a student whom she admits sexting and kissing, but denies ever getting fully physical with. Interesting. Very interesting. Let me exit out of these ads. These ads are getting on my nerves. Alicia Krins, age 39, started sending flirty messages to the boy when he was in her sophomore class at I don't even know Ponagasant High School. whatever when he was in her sophomore class in Rhode Island after she found his number online, according to charging documents. Whoa. So basically, let me look at this paragraph one more time. So the male student didn't even give her his number. She found his number online, and she didn't even slide in the DM. She slid directly to his she just started texting him out of the blue. She didn't even ask for his number. She found it online and just started texting this dude. Wow, this is crazy. Wow, this is wild. When quizzed by the cops, the married teacher admitted sending the X-rated pics as well as having kissed the boy, but insisted that they were never physical, despite locking lips and openly discussing plans to have sex, the court document said. Yeah. They were never physical, even though they were making out. Yeah. The teacher's flirting started with her saying the boy looked good and creepily asking to wear his sweatshirt. This is something like a high school girl would say to a high school boy. Before she teasingly asked him what he would buy her for her birthday, the affidavit said. So not only was she sending him photos, complimenting his looks and all this nonsense, she was also willing to trick on him. This is crazy work. This is crazy work. Oh man. Yeah, look at this. This is crazy work. Look at this quote. This is the quote, the direct quote from her. I can't believe I'm going to do this. You can't tell anybody, Krins allegedly said before grabbing the teen's face and kissing him for nearly 15 minutes. Yeah, this is a rapist, bro. I can't believe I'm going to do this. You can't tell anybody. This is something like, if a male says this is something you see like the male predators on TV. This is what the male predators on TV be saying. I can't believe I'm going to do this. You can't tell anybody that we're about to do this. This is nasty work right here. This is nasty work. They said for the next few days, the phys ed teacher bombarded the boy with flattering texts about what a good kisser he was and how she couldn't stop thinking about his lips. And people are going to look at the 15 minutes and think was a mutual thing. Well, really, if the guy pushes her off, he could get in trouble for physically assaulting his PE teacher. Right? So this is where people talk about the power dynamics. Well, this is actually an example of power dynamics. She's a female. She's his teacher. So even if there's no proof of her flirting with him, if a female teacher goes out and just starts trying to make out with you and then you push her off, she could just say that you physically assaulted her and she could get away with that. So want to talk about power dynamics, here we are. So she then invited him back over weeks later when she straddled the student in the back seat and engaged in sexual contact with him while kissing, according to the affidavit. The student showed police several racy photos and videos of Krenz in lingerie that she sent him. And when he was just 17, the teacher also sent him nude photos and videos of herself once he turned 18, she admitted. They both told the investigators that they had discussed having sex but never did. The teacher also told investigators that she eventually asked the student to stop messaging her due to her being his teacher as well as being married. I like how she tried to flip that on him. Like she was stalking him even though she found his number. The student who graduated last spring filed a formal complaint against Krenz with Rhode Island State Police back in October, triggering a criminal investigation. Krenz was charged Friday with 2 counts of third-degree SA. She is scheduled to be arraigned on March 18th in 2 days. Foster Gloucester Superintendent Dr. Renee Palazzo said in October that Krenz was no longer employed in the district. Okay. Move on to another story. You had another one. I know that went viral at the end of February. High school secretary Alicia Hughes caught by husband in bed with a student on Valentine's Day amidst a relationship in newly released footage. Oh, hold on. Let me, before I even read this story, let me check these chats. Oh, man. Says she realized, hold on, that's an older one. Jude 2. Said those eyes. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that phys ed teacher, she was looking crazy. She was definitely looking crazy. But again, reading from Twitter, high school secretary Alicia Hughes caught by husband in bed with a student on Valentine's Day amidst a relationship in newly released footage. 31-year-old Indiana mom admitted to the relationship before admitting to another relationship with a different teen. This is crazy work. So they said another boy came forward and said that she was messing with. That means if she got caught with 2, that means she's been with much more boys than just those 2 that came forward. The husband of Hughes has already filed for divorce. The female predator here, she says, this is the 3rd time that I've been with him, Hughes said, claiming she did nothing with him before he was 18. Cap. Following her arrest, another 17-year-old boy came forward and said he and the secretary had sex 5 times. Damn, yeah. She got caught. Hughes claimed she was physically and mentally abused by her husband. So at first, I didn't mess with the boy when he was under 18. Then another boy comes forward and said, "Nah, we fucked, and I'm 17." And then now she blames it on being physically and mentally abused by her husband. Here we go with this nonsense. Okay, so this is her getting questioned by the police. Let's listen to the excuses that she has here.
Seems like maybe middle, end of January, something like that.
Is this the first time you've had a physical relationship with a student?
This is the third time that I've been with him. Not like before he was 18. Because
Cap. Oh, not before he was 18. Yeah. And I'm like, women like this, these are the first ones that be talking about men are being predators and all this nonsense.
the
Anyways,
third time I've like physically been with him.
Have you had sex with any other students?
Oh, no.
Are you sure about that?
are you sure about that? Positive.
Did you ever send him pictures?
Yes.
But you've never had sex with him?
No.
Never met him at dollar store parking lot?
Yes, I have met him. But I never slept with him.
So what did you do?
I just watched him. I hung out with him. Not for very
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Man, that's funny, man. That is funny. See if anybody else. Oh, wow. Apparently she might be freed because of her crying video. But this is why that's why bitches be dyeing their hair blonde, because they're like, white girls know all they got to do is dye their hair blonde and cry. That's all they got to do. If they're a blonde girl, all they need to do is cry, and they'll be all right. So apparently the interrogation video came out, and apparently she received public support because she was crying in the video. As I'm reading from these news headlines, this is crazy work. But anyways, moving on. See if I can find another story. Shalou. See this female teacher get caught. You didn't caught. No. So yeah, that's probably the last of it. That's probably the last of it. See this missing. No, that's not it. Okay, so yeah, we're at the end of it. We're definitely at the end of it. But anyways, let me also show you guys something real quick. Let me show you see teacher. Oh yeah, so yeah, something happened in Connecticut recently. So a teacher in Connecticut, she got caught. Let me see if I can bring up this. Oh, crap. Teacher Nathan Hale, Connecticut. It was a teacher in I think the town of Norwalk, Connecticut. No, let me not search that. Teacher Nathan Hale caught with student. Yeah, the ex guidance counselor, the ex Norwalk, Luisa Melchione. So, yeah, it was an ex guidance counselor. Right here. Let me see if I can bring up this here. So this just recently happened. Like this just happened. I remember seeing the news pop up during one of my rehearsals. And I remember people were going crazy in the comments. They're like, yo, I know this lady. So this happened in the state of Connecticut, my home state. Luisa Melchione, age 48, appeared in Stamford Superior Court Tuesday after previously pleading guilty to second-degree essay and risk of injury to minor. So I guess they have the video for this. So let's give this a listen. See if they summarize this thing better than I do. Said, of course she blamed her husband. Somehow I knew she was gonna do that. He says, nah, Blondie crying has an opposite effect on me. I seen that. It makes me feel disgusted. Yeah, that same thing with me. I can definitely sympathize with you, or sorry, empathize, or whatever the term is. I can relate. I can definitely relate. Particularly when white women cry around me, especially when you're talking about blonde white women. It does an opposite of I automatically start thinking they lying. If I see like a white woman crying, I feel like she's being disingenuous. I don't know what it is with me, but that's just unfortunately due to my experience of because growing up, I saw these people like firsthand, seeing what they were doing, the manipulation, the backstabbing, the everything. When I was a kid, I used to be in the office. Like there was, I said specifically in second grade, I was in the office basically at least once a week, or I was in a situation at least once every 2 weeks where I had to stay in the principal's office for the rest of the day because of somebody over exaggerating what I did, or I did like if I actually did something serious, it was always during recess, right? But for some reason, people would like I remember I pinched one of my fellow students, right? One of my and this dude said, "Ow." I'm telling the teacher because he knew I was going to get sent to the office for the rest of the day. So that's what he did. I was like, "All right, whatever." I stayed in the office, but I didn't even get in trouble for it because they knew what happened, and they knew that I knew that once the student was going to tell, I was just going to get sent all the way to the office. So I used to sit in that office, and they got so used to seeing me in the office that they would forget I was in there. And I would see these ladies coming into the office talking cash money ish about students, me, uh, other teachers, gossiping, talking about what they was going to do to the janitor, how they was going how they trying to sleep with the janitor. Yo, I heard all types of crazy stuff. Them crying, manipulating, talking crazy about their husbands and all this stuff. I saw it all back there. I was like, yo, this is what y'all are? I was like, y'all are wild. So by the time I hit third grade, I was like, I can't be in this office because I can't be around these hoes, particularly these older white women. I cannot be around these people. So by the time I hit third grade, and that's coincidentally where I met the best teacher of my life, right? I straightened all the way up. I was like, I cannot get into trouble because I cannot be around people like this. Those are the most annoying sounding people. So I've seen them just firsthand. I'm like, no, I just can't. That shit traumatized me, man. He says, where's Anton when you need him? Yeah, he said so the right term is empathize. But let's cover this situation with the guidance counselor from Connecticut who just got in trouble.
A former Norwalk guidance counselor is sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for a sexual relationship with a middle school student. News 12 Connecticut's Marissa Alter reports from Stanford Superior Court.
So interesting. 12-year-old middle school student. I used to accuse some of these, well, not accuse, but I had questions from a lot of these. I questioned a lot of those middle school teachers, the female middle school teachers. Some of them were a little bit, people thought I was being people thought I was being a little bit paranoid because there was one specific female teacher that I thought she was a little bit too close to the other female students. That was my personal opinion at the time because I found it a little bit weird. And then there was one other female teacher that was a little bit too hands-on with somebody that I will not say. A male student that I will not say. And I had questions about that at the time, and people did not take me seriously. I was like, I don't know about this. These two specific teachers. I was like, I don't know about these broads right here. But anyways, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Cameras aren't allowed in court for any cases involving sexual offenses, but I was in the courtroom when Louisa Melchione was sentenced, handcuffed, and taken away. Melchione spoke briefly before that, saying she is deeply remorseful and understands the harm she's caused the victim. The prosecution called it a very disturbing case. A guidance counselor at Nathan Hale Middle School accused of performing sex acts on a 13-year-old student in her office. On Tuesday, the case against Louisa
she was a freak back then. I already know. First of all, she looks crazy. She looks insane, mind you. But I'll say this, when you have a woman like this, she's already getting people talking about, oh, you actually look good for your age. She'll end up believing her own hype. But anyways.
Melchione came to an end when a judge sentenced her to 4.5 years in prison, followed by 12 years of probation. Melchione previously pleaded guilty to second-degree sexual assault and risk of injury to a minor.
The allegations are far from who she is, who she's working to be. She deeply regrets letting her community and her school down and her peers.
Norwalk police
yeah. Anyways.
began investigating Melchione in April 2024 after a tip about explicit texts with a student on her phone. She was arrested a few months later and was no longer employed by Norwalk Public Schools. According to Melchione's warrant, the inappropriate relationship began in the spring of 2023 with the two exchanging nude photos. Then things escalated. The child stated that he would receive lap dances while in her office. The child also stated that Melchione performed oral sex on him on numerous occasions.
Bruh, let me rewind this. Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
It began in the spring of 2023 with the two exchanging Norwalk Public Schools. According to Melchione's warrant.
Now, Nate, what they say? Nathan Hale. Hold on for a second. I have to do some personal research real quick. Let me do some. This is gonna be off. Nathan Hale Middle School. Norwalk, Connecticut. Let me see something real quick. I got to do some Google Maps real quick. Maps. Yo. See this. I'm gonna have to. Let me see if I can. I'm going on Google Maps real quick. I just have to check something out real quick. I just have to do. Hold on for a sec. And I know this is so unprofessional of me, but I got to do this because I think I know where that is. Mind you, Connecticut is a very small state. It's a small state. I'll save my suspicions for another day. I had to go on Google Maps and check something out real quick. But anyways.
The inappropriate relationship began in the spring of 2023 with the two exchanging nude photos. Then things escalated. The child stated that he would receive lap dances while in her office.
So let's keep it a buck. This is not the first time she did this. Right? When you're talking about people, first of all, the people that get caught doing this, that means they've been doing this many times. They just got caught. You know, so she's like, what? How old is she? They said that she was what, 48 or 49? Let me check the age real quick. Yeah, she was 48. Louisa Melchione. And how long has she been teaching? How long she's been a guidance counselor at Nathan Hale? So this is we gotta cause clearly she's been doing this for a minute now. Because if she out here at her age at 48, she giving oh Lord, she giving middle school dudes boys lap dances and oral, according to the reports. And mind you, she's 48. She's doing that at 48. I mean, bruh. Imagine when she was in her late 20s. You know what I mean?
The child also stated that Melchione performed oral sex on him on numerous occasions. In court, Stanford State's Attorney Paul Forensic said he didn't know what compelled Melchione to engage in such behavior, but he acknowledged she's taking accountability. Melchione's attorney agreed.
She understands how sensitive a case like this is, and she's accepted responsibility by entering this plea and looking forward to the rehabilitation part of this program.
By the way, her last name seems very familiar to me. I'm going to have to do some personal research on that. And depending on the results of this case, I will know exactly who she is. I will know exactly who she is by the end of this case, depending on what her ultimate punishment is. I know they're saying 4.5 years followed by 12 years probation. Well, no, they said it was it's a 12-year sentence, which will be suspended after she serves 4.5 years, followed by 12 years probation. Oh, you know what? So, okay, I'll research her last name because her last name is kind of familiar to me, but I'll do some personal research on that.
The victim's attorney told News 12, while no sentence can fully repair the trauma caused, the court's decision sends a clear message that this kind of abuse will not be tolerated. Our priority now is supporting our client as they continue the difficult work of healing and reclaiming their sense of security. The criminal protective order barring Melchione from contact with the victim will remain in place for the next 50 years. In Stanford, Marissa Alter, News 12, Connecticut.
This is interesting stuff. I will do some personal research on that. Because that last name is a bit familiar to me, but maybe I should leave that alone. because I'm looking at the sentence that she got and the lack of investigation in terms of because she's been a guidance counselor clearly for at least 20 years. She's had to be doing this for at least 20 years. And for them to not even really look back at the students that she previously worked with and to see, you know, if there's any more victims of the past, that's quite interesting to me. But anyways, let me look at something real quick. Luisa Malchione. I'm trying to see. Does she have, oh, apparently she has a LinkedIn. Let's check her LinkedIn. Oh, actually, hold on. Hold on for a second. My LinkedIn almost popped up. Let me open this in a different type of tab. In a new, let's see this here. Nope, never mind. Let me hold on for a second. Open LinkedIn new tab. Let me see if I can sign off. See if I can sign off of this in the meantime. Oh, she took off. It looks like she yep. So they said that she had on her LinkedIn. I'm reading it right now. I can't show you my let me see. Luisa Malchione, no. Ooh. Okay. Okay, this is interesting stuff. This is some interesting stuff. Let's see. Let me see if I can sign off of this real quick. Let me sign off. Oh no, you can't see. So I'm looking at her LinkedIn. It says she's been a school counselor for 23 years. And it's interesting that they're not really going back into her thing. Like they're not looking real. They don't really want to investigate this, because if she's been a counselor for 20 something years, and you think that, I'm talking about she has 2 counts of SA, and then on top of that, what they say, risk to injury, what, a lap dance? So risk to injury to minors, and you got caught doing lap. That means she's been caught doing lap. She's been doing lap dances on middle school ninjas for years. So clearly she has a pattern of behavior, because they're saying lap dances. This is so clear. This is what she do. So I'm surprised they're not looking way more into it. But anyways, this is very interesting stuff. Let me read some of these chats. He said, "Look at this 40-plus-year-old freaky ass." Mind you, middle schooler. Mind you, middle schooler. Dr. Fourth Wall says, I just unlocked a core memory. In 3rd grade, one of my teachers, real old woman looking like the blobfish, would always put lipstick on and kiss the kids, and got sort of angry when I said no to that. Oh, thankfully that didn't happen to me. Thankfully. Oh Lord. Oh no. So the reason why, tenacity, the reason why I looked up the middle school, I'm like, look, I've been all over Connecticut. And the school looked familiar. Not necessarily because I've been to that school, but I thought, because I've played, because I've played sports, I've played basketball, I played soccer. I used to play a lot of like pickup, and actually, let me not go there. It looked like the place where they said that Nathan, the place is very familiar to me, and actually familiar to somebody that I might know. So I'm going to have to ask him if he went to that school. You know what I'm saying? And I just gotta, I'll be like, yo, did you go to? All right, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. That's why I had to look at that school. And I know you're just kidding, but just putting it out there. He says she's a weirdo. He says, why would you let a child be alone with a guidance counselor? He says, my parent never left me alone with any teacher. Yeah, same, you know. You just can't be blindly trusting these people. But I said this in 2022. And I will say this, Miss Lorette Hamilton, one of the OG supporters of this channel, she can attest to this. When I made these videos, I said at the time, and I think Pyro could also attest to this as well, where I said, if you are a parent in 2020, whatever, right? 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, if you are a parent of a boy and you know he garnishes female attention, you need to be honest with yourself. If you have one of those boys that garnishes female attention, you need to, even if he doesn't garnish female attention, if he plays sports, you need to keep an extra eye on these female teachers that he has classes with, or in particularly these new incoming female teachers that are coming in. You need to keep an eye on them. This is not, you know, back in the days where you can trust that the teachers are going to do their job and be a mentor. No, they're on demon time. Just keeping it a buck. They're on demon time. You know. Said my parent never left me alone. But yeah, I got hold on. Let me because I'm looking at the middle school. I got to text somebody real quick about this middle school. And I'm like I said, I'm just gonna leave it at that because I don't want to put anybody's business out there. Let me see if I can find his number real quick. I'm gonna ask Broski if he went to that middle school. I don't know if I still have his number. Do I? Oh, yeah, I do have his number. Good. I haven't texted him in a minute. Yeah, I haven't personally texted him on his. Everything has always been via Instagram with me and this dude. All right, so let me text him. Have you been to? Let me see if I can text this real quick. Nathan Hale Middle School. Let me see if I can make this text real quick. Everything I just realized, me and this person, everything that anytime we text each other is always via Instagram. Literally for the past like literal 7 years, I have not texted him on his personal number for 7 years. Everything's been via Instagram and Snapchat. Wow. Anyways, Mr. Popularity 000 says, I remember a teacher from Manhattan did the same thing and got away with it. Just a lot. Because most of the female teachers, they just get a slap. They rarely, if ever, get a slap on the wrist for their behavior. And they don't really do any deep investigation in their past to see if there's other people, you know. So that's another thing too. See Naomi Taker Craig. I'm trying to look at. I'm trying to look at my Google search history, but they won't show me my full Google search history. see, settings, search history. Let's take a look at this. Why can I not see my search history? What is going on? See, history. Here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Here we go. That's what I was searching for. List of female teachers caught. But I wanted to show, yeah, I was under the images. And it was interesting the stories that would pop up when you just look under the images. Teacher released from jail. Lara Karen, elementary school teacher accused of having a child with student released. So that was another. This is another teacher that had a child with the kid that got pregnant by a minor and kept the kid. Released from jail. So that's an interesting situation. That's very interesting. Yo. She was a 5th grade teacher. This is wild. New Jersey 5th grade teacher accused of abusing boy, giving birth to his kid. The kid was in 5th grade. 5th grade. Are they still going to call him a lucky boy? This is crazy.
Backyard home, a 5th grade teacher in South Jersey is charged with sexually assaulting a
And this was just last year. January 16th, 2025.
Student for 4 years. That student claims in court documents that he fathered a child with the teacher. Laura Karen teaches at Middle Township Elementary School. Court documents obtained by NBC 10 News allege from 2016 to 2020, Karen had a sexual relationship with the student while they were living in her home in Cape May County. The student was born in 2005. We reached out to the school district for comment, but haven't yet heard back. The case was brought to light when the victim's father made a social media post last month saying Karen's 5-year-old child looked very similar to him and his son.
Crazy work. This is diabolical work right here. This is diabolical work. Let me go back to this thing right here. Diabolical. Crazy. But it's interesting because you'll even see some of these some of the female teachers. Like I have a picture. Like I remember I've seen the pictures of some of them, right? And when you're looking at them, like if you see a bitch like this, right? You see a hole like this. You're like, huh? Because usually when it comes to the, the male predator teachers, they give them like the most messed up photos. But you're seeing the pictures of these and you're like, you couldn't find anybody? I'm not saying she's a 10, not even saying she's a 6, but this is like, she can find somebody her age. But you're going after a middle schooler, you're going after an elementary school. You know what I mean? Even when the ones were like, in this case, this is a 17-year-old, but still, I don't care. Like, you're going after a high schooler, you can find nobody your age. Like I remember one of the main ones that I think I selected. I selected this photo. Let me see if I can find this photo. I have it saved somewhere. I've used this as an example. I've used this as a recent example. This woman right here. So this is a 22-year-old right here. She was caught with like a 14-year-old. I think she was she was like 24 or 22. She was caught with a 14-year-old. It was a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old. I was like, wait a minute. I'm literally looking, because I'm looking at her, I'm like, you couldn't find nobody. I'm not saying she's OD pretty. I'm just saying a girl that looks like this can find she can find somebody. Like a woman that looks like this she can find somebody. Like, how is a middle schooler even in the cards? But that shows how crazy this game is right now. Because the men her age, or even the men, first of all, the men her age, they've kind of, we've a lot of us have given up on just dating. So if we are messing with somebody around that age, it's like we understand what it is. It's not, we're not looking to marry because it's just too much risk. And then the older men, they'll just pay her for her time. they'll probably trick on her a little bit, but they're not gonna marry her. So they're like, damn, where am I gonna get this attention from? Where am I gonna get this? So they know the only people that will actually take them seriously, or actually want to be with them, or where their biology will trick them into falling in love with somebody like this, is if they go after an underage boy. So this is very worrying. This is something I've been ringing the alarm bells on since 2022. If you look at because when I first started making videos like this was 2022. Just look in February or April 22. This was one of my first videos. All Teachers Are Thoughts series, right? Oh man. He says they both were on the rise, getting caught more due to the fact that there's more female teachers year by year, and the fact that it's getting more normalized for boys to accuse their teacher. Exactly. Because exactly what you said, there's less and less and less male teachers, and boys are being more encouraged to put these teachers on blast. Because they thought, I don't know what it works with the female brain. They thought by encouraging the boys to come out, they thought more men would get exposed, but actually more females started getting exposed, But anyways, it says mainstream media. Albert C says mainstream media will label incels as terrorists, but they're quiet about these female teachers. Yeah, that, like right now, the popular thing to do, and that's going to be this might be another live stream, a personal live stream I might do. It might not be on here on StreamYard, but it might just be a personal live stream, is this thing where it's popular to dump on Red Pill content. So now they got this thing where what's this boy's name? They dropped another, so-called, male podcaster incel documentary. Did you guys hear about this? Is like on Netflix. They dropped another documentary on, male podcasters and alpha male podcast, bro. And basically it's just them dumping on Myron Gaines. It's just them talking about Myron Gaines for an hour and a half. Like, this is late. That's called lazy journalism and lazy rage baiting content. It's like, I already saw that coming from a mile away in terms of people coming after the Red Pill space and just trying to, make them look like the bad guys of society. I talked about that in 2022 as well. that was easy to see coming. I said it's going to be a lot of stuff going on in this country, and they're going to be blaming it on men, and basically men that make Red Pill content. They're going to label us, as I said specifically in 2022, they're going to label, or no, sorry, in 2023, or it was either 2022 or 2023. I said this. They're going to label all Red Pill content as incel content. So anytime they talk about Red Pill stuff, they're just going to say Red Pill incel, Red Pill incel, Red Pill incel, just to keep these two things like combined. like they're the same thing. And then if anything goes wrong, if a shooting happens, they're gonna blame red pill content. If something else happens, they're gonna blame red pill content. If they want to make somebody look bad, they're gonna call him red pill. I predicted all of this in 2022. This stuff is too easy. So they're willing to do all of this stuff, but they're never gonna go after the female teachers. They're never gonna go after female predators. That's not. First of all, like I said, people don't care about male victims. Number one, and then number two, I don't even think men care about male boy victims. They just don't. And I'll say this: this might be controversial to say. This is where I think. This is where I should have known that a lot of men don't take this stuff seriously. This is what I should have known. Where you had somebody, and who's an SJW, mind you, Sinead O'Connor. She exposed the Catholic Church, or specifically what those Catholic priests be doing, and it's almost like people just make jokes about the boy victims of these Catholic priests, and people just whatever. So this is where I should have known. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. But a lot of people they don't care about young boy victims. They don't. Let me see this right here. It says a lot of these female teachers are just trying to Chad chase as early as they can. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, I said this in 2022. I said they're trying to, like, they would make these videos. I would talk about this, right? So let me take her off the screen. Or actually, whatever. I would talk about this in my earlier videos. Let me see if I can actually find the other female that I would use as an example, because it was this one mulatto chick. But back to what I was saying. I would point out, I would show those videos of those girls making these TikToks about how they're blending in with the students, how the security guards or other students mistaking them as students, and they take so much pride in that. I'm like, well, this is kind of, I called this out as weirdo behavior at the time. And I always made the parallel. I said, if it was a man making content about how he's blending in with the students, how people people mistake him as a student all the time that he's teaching, people would think that he was a pedophile. So I use that same logic. And like you said, B. Watkins, the Chad chasing does not stop. It does not stop. He says, yeah, they were raised to hate men their age. I agree. Albert C., I agree with that. So a lot of like Gen Z men could definitely attest to this. They could definitely confirm this. The women around them, they were just, if you're not Chad, if you're not what's that boy's name I was talking about last week? What's his name? If you're not that Australian guy that's in all these movies that require a Chad, what's that boy's name? I'm Jacob Elordi, right? Jacob Elordi, right? If you're not Jacob Elordi, if you're not Henry Cavill, if you're not what's the black dude? The nigga that played Simba or something. What's his name? The ninja with green eyes. I'm blanking on his name. If you're not those guys, she hates you. Just off of existing. You're gonna need some kind of status or some kind of clout. And even then, those women still hate those guys. They're just around those guys so they can use those guys. He says, yeah, that documentary is meant to discredit and distract. I'm gonna cover that. I'm definitely gonna cover that. It's just lazy journalism. As soon as I saw the poster, I'm like, watch, they're just gonna talk about Myron Gaines and Andrew Tate. That's all they're gonna do. It's such a it's so lazy. It's so lazy. Let me see if I can. Let me take this off. But it's such a lazy journalism, man. It's so lazy. Let me see if I can bring up that poster. The rise of male content. What's the is done by Thibodeau, whatever his name is. What's his name? Thibodeau. Yeah, Manosphere. That's what the documentary is called, Manosphere. And they were I'm like, this is lazy as hell, boy. Let me see if as soon as I saw this, let me see if I can share the poster. This is I'm sitting there like, this is, these people don't want, these people do no research. Just, oh my goodness, man. These people do no research. As soon as I saw this poster on Netflix, I'm listening there like, all they're gonna do is, like, especially this is based in the UK. All they're gonna, they only gonna talk about Myron, and Andrew Tate. That's all they're gonna talk about. Very lazy. Very lazy. I will say this though. Actually, let me read these comments before I even make another point here. He says, of course, they got to set up Red Pill. Netflix try to make a show insulting MGTOW, and oh boy, I feel this will backfire badly. He says, I'm glad boys are being encouraged to accuse, to tell their parents, it appears, if a female teacher abuses them, while simps, weak men who can't control their biology say, lucky him, it is rather effed up. The only time they're only going to be concerned is when those, like I said, those men that are saying lucky boy, once they see those female teachers start going after their daughters, that's when they're going to start, they're like, oh, this is, that's when they're going to start losing their mind. When they find out the amount of female teachers that be grooming daughters to become a certain lifestyle. That's when they're going to start being serious. You always see it in the comments, oh, that's a lucky boy. I'm like, what's wrong with, and these be grown men too. They be in their 40s, 50s saying this stuff. And you're just like, good Lord. He says, Red Pill and incels can interlap, have similarities. Most incels go to either Black Pill or Simposphere, whether left or right. Personally, I agree with Sinead O'Connor critique on the Catholic Church. As a Catholic myself, however, she herself became Muslim, which some of its imam do the same, and sometimes openly. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sinead O'Connor, she might have had her different type of, she had her own personal vendetta, right? you know what I mean? Like, if I were to advise a woman to not be somebody, I would definitely tell them to, like, not be like a Sinead O'Connor, but you still got to give credit where credit is due. You know what I mean? That's what I'm coming from. And when she exposed that, and it actually showed that there was a lot of boys being victims of this, but but going by the Catholics' reactions, it's like they didn't care. They literally try to sweep it under the rug. I was like, oh, they don't care about boy victims if they're boys, you know. A Feral Trout 420 says, and I could tell she was saying, how dare you talk to me and not be a Chad, you disgusting uggo. Yeah, there's a good population of these young women where basically, if you're just a regular dude, they just have a disgust for the average man. This is why most of the time, like, if they do end up in a romantic situation or a situationship, or they become a side chick to somebody, is always going to end in fire, because they're not looking for a regular situation. They're always going to look for an edgy situation, a borderline abusive situation. They're always going to put themselves in a situation where it's not normal. like it's never a normal situation. B. Waska says Myron and Tate are just PUA, Roach, Feds, and Conman. Well, yeah, but that they're just gonna use those guys. And then on, in the documentary, they said they were saying that HS TikToky is a alpha male content creator, and I'm like, I thought he was just a streamer. So HS TikToky, I thought he was just a regular influencer. I don't like. They considered him a manosphere guy. Like, am I missing something? Because they said they said HS TikToky was in the documentary, and I'm like, this is like I said, this is very lazy journalism. Very, very, very lazy. Very lazy. People might not remember this. I went on AJ's podcast and I made the prediction last year. I was like, watch, they're gonna say Theo Von is a is a conservative podcast bro. That's what they're gonna say. I said they're gonna say Theo Von is a far right podcast bro. Watch. That's what they're gonna say next. Theo Von, and lo and behold, it's just like they're it's pure laziness, right? Somebody said, "What kind of cuckold cover is that?" Oh man. But anyways, but I will say this. I will say this because this is where men must bear some personal responsibility in this, right? I grew up, I always say this, my favorite athletes growing up were Allen Iverson, Terrell Owens, Mario Balotelli, right? All of these people are victims of lazy journalism, lazy media coverage. You slap a label on somebody and boom, that's just the archetype. It's only taken years later when people realize these were the good guys, right? So when we'll take the NFL, for example, what do we always talk about? The diva wide receiver, the diva this, diva that, right? The diva wide receivers, the junk, the junk talking cornerback, right? Cornerback. And we're just gonna say the QBs are never divas, the QBs are good. They this is what certain sports will push these things. They push these images out there. And I had to witness the people that I grew up admiring get destroyed by lazy journalism. What's the common thing to say? Oh, NFL players be beating up they broads and all this stuff. No. Lazy journalism, right? Because what people don't understand, when you need to pass, when an agenda needs to be passed, you need a guinea pig. You need somebody to take the brunt of it. You need somebody that's willing to. You need a scapegoat. You always are going to need a scapegoat before you pass something, before you do something. And there's been a lot of men that I saw that have fallen for it. There's a lot of men that still fall for it today. Corey Holcomb, as we speak, is unfortunately being targeted by lazy bloggers. That might be a different, discussion for another day. People don't understand that you can actually pay bloggers to drop negative information about somebody. You can pay news media outlets to do this. You can pay, you can also pay people to spam comment sections. It doesn't take much. You can literally just go on Craigslist and be like, I need somebody to do this. And I'll give you this money. You can literally go on Craigslist right now. Right? But people still are victims of this. People still fall for it. Cam Newton, another person, a huge victim of lazy journalism. A huge victim of lazy journalism. This is something that I saw the whole time. So now, this thing is never just, all right, they're just only going to do lazy journalism on this group of people or this subset of people that I don't like. It's always going to spread. It's always going to be people trying to pass things, people trying to pass agendas, and they're going to need scapegoats. You always need a scapegoat. So now, right now, the manosphere or the red pill content creators, whatever you want to call it, they have tagged the red pill stuff to anything. So what I've been noticing on a lot of shows that I've watched, a lot of shows, it'll be like a guy that's about to shoot up a school, and then his username online was called Red Pill this, or he was influenced by Red Pill that. There's it's a whole bunch of shows where they'll just push this narrative that these guys are being influenced by Red Pill bros and incel this and blah, involuntarily this to shoot up schools and all this nonsense. Now a nigga like me, I already know what that is. As soon as you keep attaching things to people's names and you keep flashing it, I'm like, okay, I know what you're doing. Don't do that to me, right? I'm too used to that. But to the normies, which is most people, they're gonna fall for it. Like the average good-natured person, he's gonna see red pill and he's automatically gonna think negative. That's the idea. That's the idea. So when you think of this person, you automatically think negative. If you think of, boom, this. If you ask the average, like I said, you ask the average normally, okay, what do you think an incel looks like? Forget a red pill, right? Let's go into the deeper stuff. What does an incel looks like? They're gonna describe a skinny white male Trump supporter. That is lazy journalism, but that's propaganda. That's propaganda working. You know what I mean? That's lazy journalism. That's lazy research. But I already expect people to be lazy with their research. Oh man. B. Watkins says, to be fair, Chris Mike, it's lazy journalism on purpose since the start. It's disingenuous since the goal was always to misrepresent you. That's what I was trying to tell somebody earlier. Specifically when it came to the Corey Holcomb situation. I was trying to tell them, look, it doesn't matter what you say on here. If somebody wants to say that you're this, if the powers that may be, or somebody is paying media outlets or paying bloggers to say this, to drop this agenda about you, it's gonna work. They can make any of us look like pedophiles. All they got to do is take a certain clip out of context and then run with it. That's all it takes. Because most people are stupid. Most people are idiots. You saw what happened in 2020. Most people are idiots. Most people will just, if they see something on a big flashing sign, if they see something on TV They're just going to automatically believe it's real. You know, so I have no faith really in the general public. It's always going to be disingenuous. You know, but everybody has their agendas, man. It's just most people are not patient enough. They're not tactful enough to be like, okay, what's the bigger play here? What's the bigger picture in this thing? Why is this happening now? Why is this being released now? Why, says sometimes the media, when it makes out someone to be worse, to be the worst in sports, he might not be that bad or is actually good, while the good guys are far shadier. Usually when I say things like this, people don't believe me for some reason, or they kind of dismiss it. I said this for a while. Julian Edelman is off the chain. He's crazy. This dude is a wild boy. But that's not what's portrayed in the media, right? And it's very few people that can pick up on this kind of thing, these kind of things. Well, T.O. was considered a bad guy, but Marvin Harrison was considered this quiet, oh, he did what he was supposed to do type person. Meanwhile, he actually killed a person. But the way that the media covers each certain athlete, you would think that Terrell Owens is the devil. Meanwhile, Marvin Harrison was a diva. He was actually a diva wide receiver. Like, I remember Marvin Harrison did a clip where he was talking about his son, and he said that his son, he said the thing that I hate about my son is that he needs to be more like me. He needs to be more of a diva. He needs to ask for the ball more. And there were people in the comment section like, what, Marvin Harrison? I thought he was quiet. I'm like, y'all gotta be the dumbest. I'm just saying, they're just like, okay. I'm like, don't you guys understand what this game is? Don't you guys find it a little bit weird that Randy Moss was considered a problem child up until he started helping Tom Brady win games and breaking records? And then all of a sudden, Randy Moss is a good guy all of a sudden. Don't you guys see how this stuff works? Like, it's the same reason Antonio Brown's not, you think Antonio Brown is going to be in the Hall of Fame? He should be. But after what happened between him and Tom Brady, what happened with him and the Steelers, I would be shocked. I will be shocked. And I'll say this, I'll be happy because I'll be like, okay, we're finally doing things off of merit and talent, because Antonio Brown's one of the best wide receivers I've ever seen. But because of what happened between him and Brady, I don't know. Now, the reason why I also bring up Antonio Brown, because I remember at one point when when Odell Beckham Jr. was having, his, the media was trying to portray him like he was some kind of problem child, right? And people were saying that OBJ needs to act more like AB. And at that time, I was like, no, Antonio Brown's a weirdo. This nigga, nah. I was like, no, OBJ needs to not be like AB. And I remember being in high school saying this, and people were like, what are you talking about, Chris? I was like, nah, Antonio Brown's crazy, bro. People think it's what Antonio Brown is doing. He was doing crazy shit before Devontae's perfect hit. He was doing mad, crazy, weirdo stuff way before that. It's just when he was playing with the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger, who was well protected by the media at the time, he was still under his protection, his team's protection, his agent, his PR team. So whenever AB was doing his weirdo stuff, doing all these things at practice, they swept it under the rug. But when it was time, because when they saw that they gave AB his money and he was still acting a plump fool, that's when people started They basically let AB go out, to pasture for the media to rake him. you know. But yeah, a lot of people, they don't understand how this game works, man. And people are now finding out that Big Ben is a diva. Like he's a bad teammate. But it's not popular to say that because guys like that, like Big Ben, was well protected in the media. That's like I said, that's a whole other story. Tom Brady, another person well protected in the media. His image is very well curated, very well, It's a lot of Patriots players that were off the chain, but they got protected. But anyways, B. Watkins says Ellen DeGeneres was pushed as this amazing and nice, kind person, and look how she turned out. Well, that I never bought that. That I never bought. But I'll say that because I primarily would watch Corey Holcomb, and he would talk about these people. Like he used to talk about these people all the time. But even before that, like with Ellen DeGeneres, these are the people that I tend to keep my eye on because I'm like, there seems to be no dirt on you. And then the few people that speak out or they look like they're about to speak out, they seem to get silenced quickly. There's got to be something to that. He says, note Jack Murphy, one of his subscribers, actually did become a shooter, yet never got investigated by the feds, and the whole thing was swept under the rug. Well, that's, that's a whole other story. He says, if a warband member did that, every warband member who is constantly on stream and donates would get the feds knocking, raiding the door. Well, just the fact that Hammerhand got the visit from those people should tell people everything you need to know. Even these so-called with these school shootings, these are allowed to happen. They got all of our phones tapped. They know what's going on, But anyways. Oh yeah, the good times. They always they want to bring this, man, before COVID, everything was not nah. People like to play revisionist history. B. Watkins says, and ultimately we have to put faith in the worthy and strong and not just put misguided faith in the hordes of fools. He says, what a wasted opportunity. The Killer Bee Steelers of the 2013-ish time frame. Most top players in any sports are divas. I'm trying to say there's not a whole bunch of I would say 90%. I would say 90%. 90% of them are divas. And I'll say this might be uncomfortable and people might not like what I when I say this, but a lot of them, they have to be. Let me give you an example. Let me give y'all an example real quick. In the NFL, let me give you another NFL example. Mike Evans, wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, does everything what he's supposed to do, never complains, never asks for more targets. Well, he probably does ask for more targets, but he never shows out his quarterbacks. He's played with trash quarterbacks. He did play with Tom Brady for three years, right? Never shows out his quarterback, always does what he's supposed to do. He could easily get more targets, but he never pushes for more targets. And you got dudes that hold his numbers against him and say that he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. So it's a lose-lose with a lot of these guys. You know what I mean? Or if you ask a normie, if you ask a normie, okay, name me a player that wasn't a diva. They're gonna name you a player that was a diva. They're gonna like you ask a normie, okay, name me a player that you think wasn't on steroids, and then they're gonna name you a player from the 90s, or where they definitely were taking steroids during that time, or they're going to, if you tell them, okay, name me name me if you name me a player that always trained hard and wasn't a diva. They're gonna name you a player, and I could give you a story where they're not, where they are a diva. I'll give you a soccer. Let me give you a soccer example. I used to tell people for years that Messi doesn't train every single other time. I said Cristiano Ronaldo is probably the few. And people are, oh no, you just glazing Ronaldo. I'm telling you, Ronaldo, he is a diva, yes, but he trains. He trains hard. I'm like, Messi doesn't train, bro. Not like what you think. I'm telling, like, I've because I've seen some of the things what Barcelona would do with the players that they favor, the people that came from their academy, the people that they groomed and grew up. They give them a little bit of a special treatment, right? And most top teams, the top players get special treatment. It is what it is. I was trying to tell people for years, Messi doesn't train like that. He's just unbelievably good. So they give him a lot of, so if he needs rest a day before the match, he doesn't have to train that day. He's probably just getting a massage and probably might do a couple drills. Oh no, Chris, you don't know what you're talking about. You got players now, because players be having podcasts. You got these players now that played with Messi. They said that like a lot of the times they would see him, he wouldn't even really train. He didn't have to train with us after a certain age. So they said that even when he was young, when he was like in his early 20s, that it'll be days before the game, they'll be training and Messi would just be outside and they would just be giving a massage outside. They'd just be giving him a live massage outside. No training today. I'm talking about top players that played with him. And they say, oh yeah, Messi didn't have to train like that. Huh? I didn't know this. Even, I'll give you another soccer example. Eden Hazard, right? I accuse Eden Hazard of being lazy. 2014, 2015. Because people were trying to they were trying to bash my guy Balotelli at the time for not training hard and not doing this and all this. But look, they'll be like, well, look at your peers, they're doing this and they're doing that. And the people they brought up, I was like, Hazard doesn't really train like that. And they brought up, and then I was talking about Aguero. He's not training like that. You know what I mean? And I was trying to bring them up, and they just thought people just thought I was lying at the time. But I used to watch these training videos. You know, they'll show like, you know, Manchester City training highlight videos, or they'll show Chelsea training videos. And I would see Hazard most times with literally his hands in his pants, just watching. I was just sitting there like, what the fuck? What is this? I'm like, this dude is just like Aguero, right? When I saw those videos of Hazard in the Chelsea training videos, not doing a goddamn thing. And I would say this at the time, and people thought I was hating, and I'm like, Hazard is literally one of my favorite players. I'm telling you what I'm seeing. But their image of a lazy player is anybody that's black and that's over 6'2". And that has any sort of personality. If you're black, unfortunately in Europe, I'm not saying in America, in Europe, if you're black and if you're over 6 feet tall and you have any type of personality, they're gonna call you lazy and entitled. That's just how it works. Now, for some reason, you'll call out somebody else. They just won't believe it until their teammates come out and say, "Oh yeah, he did this and he did that." Samuel Eto'o, one of the best soccer players of all time, he did an interview. He dropped an interview where he used Ronaldinho as an example, right? In terms of you have to train hard. If you don't train hard, you're going to burn out sooner. Your career might end sooner. And then he said, this is what This is why I tell Eden Hazard. He dropped this interview in 2014. He said, this is why I tell Eden Hazard, I use Ronaldinho as an example. You need to train hard, or it's going to backfire on you on the back end of the career. So I remember bringing up that interview. I'm like, didn't you see that interview with Eto'o when he was talking about Eden Hazard? And for some reason, the normies that I was talking to, or whatever, my teammates or the people that cover soccer, when I would mention this, they're like, that doesn't mean he was saying Eden Hazard is lazy. I'm like, bro, but why would he? Never mind. I was just like, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to just leave it alone. But now everybody got podcasts now, and everybody, all you got to do, okay, hold on. Let me bring up YouTube real quick. Because all you got to do now is bring up YouTube. Just bring up YouTube. Go like this. Eden Hazard, lazy. And you literally have players, managers, former teammates. You have the laziest genius in football history. But guys, they're saying that he's lazy now because they have all the information now that Eden Hazard wasn't training as hard as he was supposed to in practice. But in 2014, in 2015, in 2016, even 2017, that was not the narrative about Eden Hazard's career. They just saw him being so unbelievably good. They would have never said he was lazy until these former players started coming out. Oh yeah, he doesn't even train. But it takes the normies, they need to, it takes this kind of level of confirmation for them to realize, oh, this guy's lazy. This guy's a diva. This guy's this. Because if those players never came out, they would have thought that Eden Hazard was this great leader. He led by example and all this stuff. Oh man, hold on. Let me see this. Let me just bring up this video right here.
But laziest football I've ever seen in my life.
But then he would produce it.
But then come the weekend, he produces it. He wins the man of the match. And then he comes.
This was not the narrative on Eden Hazard. When he was playing, when he was in his prime, this was not the narrative. A lot of people did not know this about Eden Hazard. They did not know this. It only came to light when he joined Real Madrid and he started getting all these injuries back to back to back to back. And then people started putting two and two together. They're like, oh, I see what's up, you know. but anyways, Messi, same thing with Messi. But if you let the average soccer fan, you know, they tell it. If you let them tell it, they'll tell you Vinicius Jr. is the evilest, the most evilest person in sports. They're gonna tell you Mbappe's a bad guy. They're gonna tell you Mbappe's a dictator. It's all, this is, like I said, this is laziness, pure laziness. They're gonna tell you what else? What else they gonna say? I'm trying to think. Yeah, they're gonna say Harry Maguire's a bad defender and all these. This is all lazy reporting, lazy narratives. These are scapegoats. Oh yeah, Rafael Leal has a bad attitude. These are all, this is just pure lazy research, pure lazy journalism. But we will definitely go over that. We will definitely go over that. I need to download Netflix for a month and then actually watch. You know what I mean? I gotta watch the documentary, or to see if I can bootleg the documentary. I gotta watch it, and then I will come back with my reaction. But according to everybody else, it looks like for the whole time, it was just about they were just talking about Myron and Andrew Tate. But anyways, that's it for today. That is it for today. My next stream, I think I need to watch the documentary in its full entirety so I can really get the full scope. Because the names that I'm seeing on there, I'm like, bruh, there's no way this is the whole documentary is about Myron Gaines, HS Tiki Taki, and Andrew Tate. And he talking about inside the manosphere. This can't be life. But we will definitely do that next. I am a little bit over time. Damn, I didn't do my practices today. But anyways, shout out to you guys. I do gotta bounce. I do gotta peace out. Like I said, just before I sign off, all of this stuff that I talk about, it's all related. It's all related. There's a reason why they're willing to go after the manosphere, but they don't want to talk about these female teachers being predator. There's a reason why you got these female teachers, they're targeting boys at the same age. When they were at that same age, they were after the same age group of men when they were that boy's age. So it's all related. And PSA, if anybody in the chat, if you have kids, particularly if you have a son or even a daughter, but I'll say specifically a son that garnishes female attention, please watch out for your female teachers. It's not safe anymore, especially when you're talking about public school. They be hiring anybody. Anyways, take care, guys. I do have to jet. I gotta peace out. Let me see what I could use. What could I use? Oh, I like this one. Shout out to you guys, baby.
A fat woman is the equivalent of what a broke dude is.
Okay,
They are the
sorry.
same.
Okay.
Sorry, Dinfred,
All right.
I cannot keep quiet.